And we're back. Bonfire Banter. We got a fishing episode here. Highly anticipated episode. We've been planning this one for quite a while, actually. Finally, we got these guys out here. We have Eric Struif out here tonight. We have Wes, and we have Cory Yarmuth over here.
Close enough.
And Wes, how do you pronounce that?
Yarmuth.
Yarmuth? Okay, cool. Yeah. And then what is the last name again, Wes?
Genthe.
What is that?
Genthe.
Genthe. Well, thank you guys for your time tonight. Really appreciate it. We want to have a little discussion about fishing. I want to start with kind of what are you guys' background? Like, what have you done in fishing? What makes you, a semi-expert or someone that, why did we bring you out here tonight, Eric? What do you know about fishing?
I would say that I don't know as much as a lot of people.
Yeah.
No, I think I started tournament fishing, actually, in like the late 90s.
Okay.
I worked at Bass Pro actually for a little while in shipping and receiving there, and I met a guy that got me involved in a club called Anglers Unlimited.
Okay.
They're in Round Lake, Illinois, and I fished with them up until 2004. I mean, I continued fishing with them, but in 2004 I actually went and did a co-angler event with FLW. That was 2004. And it wasn't the FLW Tour event, it was the next level down. That was the EverStart series at the time.
So how do you get involved in these tournaments? Like, do you just sign up and you got to qualify, or?
No, you don't have to qualify. You actually just go to the website if you want to fish BASS or if you want to fish FLW. And you can sign up as a co-angler if you're not ready to go as a boater or a pro. And you'll get assigned a pro that you fish with.
Okay.
And that's the easiest way for people that want to kind of break into the sport of tournament bass fishing, other than getting into a local club. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And then, Cory, what's kind of your background? What have you done within the fishing game?
Mostly I'm a project manager for a company by day.
Okay.
And then I throw on my fishing cape at night and weekends. Excuse me. I'm an outdoor writer.
Okay.
I'm also on pro staff for several companies. And that word is something I wanted to bring up right away about pro staff.
Yeah.
When I say pro staff, people take that the wrong way. Pro stands for promotional.
Okay.
Not I am professional.
Yeah.
It's promotional. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not professional, but when that word gets thrown around, it gets thrown around a lot by a lot of people. And so I work with a lot of different companies with my writing. I am on Bass Pro Shops pro staff. I got started fishing. I'm 47. I got started fishing when I was about 3 years old. And I've just refined, and I learn something new every day, every time I'm out fishing. And I've just kind of taken it every time to the next level. I have fish tournaments. I do fish them when I can. Everybody sees tournament fishing and thinks, man, that's glorious. Yeah. And they don't realize that there's 52 weeks in a year, and those guys are fishing 42 at least of those weeks.
Yeah.
And,
intense. I mean,
it is. It can be intense, especially if you have a young family and you're and you're new to the sport. I always suggest to people, just if you're able to do it and it's something you want to do, at least go and try it once.
Be a co-angler.
Be a co-angler.
And being a co-angler is a very humbling experience, especially when you get some of the different partners. And if you get the wrong partner, you, especially in some of the not as much the bass series, but when you get into the walleye series, that's very humbling, because
you're saying a co-angler is just like you're going out and being this guy's bitch, kind of. You're setting him up.
You're basically boat bitch.
Yeah.
You're getting rear-ended.
Yep.
You're back. They call it back-ended. You're in the back of the boat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your pro is fishing the front of the boat.
Yeah.
You get his sloppy seconds.
Okay. Yeah.
For lack of better words.
Yeah.
Wes, have you have any experience with this at all, or
I got a buddy that's a pro now.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been fishing since I was about 3 years old. I'm 29 now.
Okay.
And what he's saying with, the 52 weeks out of the year, it's all, practice, time spent on the water, casting, figuring out your patterns, what you're good at, how you like to catch them. And with being the boat bitch, with your friends that are really good.
Yeah.
I've been there. He show up, he'll pull anything out of his pocket, and he's like, "Here, man, use this," and then he's slaying it. Then all of a sudden, I'm getting hooked up too.
Yeah.
On
It's
that.
amazing how like the guys that know what they're doing can make you better right away.
Yeah, it's like the fish told
sure.
them what they want,
Yeah.
and he's always right.
And the key to that is to if you do get into tournament fishing and you do start as a co-angler, is you're not there as much to make money and be in the money. You're there to learn.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Because the biggest key is to watch.
Yeah.
And you watch what that pro is doing.
Sure.
And I'm on the other side now. I'm not as much the pro in the front of the boat, but I do a lot of speaking events and I do a lot of seminars and my writing, and I kind of take that into account and realize, I'm not always talking to guys that know what. Hey, I'm going to Texas rig a culprit.
Yeah. It'd be way over my head. I'd be like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, sure.
Sometimes you just gotta. I hate to use the term "dumb it down" because that's I'm not meaning it that way because nobody's dumb.
Simplify it, maybe.
Simplify it.
Yeah.
and I've caught myself just going and spewing terms, and then I see the blank look on that person's face, and they're just like, and then I have to realize, okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm talking about. Let's break this down simple. I said, you know what? What are your questions?
Yeah.
You tell me, and then that's why, if you fish in the tournament circuits, is not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I do enjoy fishing a tournament, but it is very stressful. And then when you do fish with a co-angler or as a co-angler,
Sure.
like I started this entire rant about was to pay attention, because I've seen a lot of guys out there that think their shit don't stink.
Yeah.
And then they get in the boat with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Sure.
And
You get humbled, like you said.
they get humbled.
Yeah.
And they don't pay attention.
Yeah.
They sit there and think, my shit don't stink. He's catching fish because he's in the front of the boat.
Yeah.
I'm getting screwed back
Yeah.
here, and they don't want to listen.
I think it's a personality trait at some point, though.
It is.
Is
It
like
is.
there's certain people that you sit back and it sounds almost like when Wes is talking, like he's the kind of guy that would listen.
Oh,
you
yeah.
sit back there going like,
I've caught some big
please
fish in the back
teach
of
me.
the
Yeah,
boat.
please teach me.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And you need that attitude
there-
going into it.
There's sometimes you just need to sit there, lay your rod across your lap, and just watch. Going,
Yeah.
how come? How? What's he doing? I've got the same bait. I'm
Yep.
fishing the same structure.
How's he
Yeah.
reeling it in? How
And then you
fast? How
gotta-
slow?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just watch and go, he's got a different cadence. He is popping it twice where I'm popping it 3 times.
Sure.
Slight
And-
pause,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
And
there's
it's just
those
that
little
little thing.
subtle things
Mm-hmm.
that people do differently, and then you kind of figure that out for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're out there doing it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, my first tournament was up on Lake Vermilion in Minnesota as a co-angler,
Okay.
and I managed to draw a guy my very first day, Butch Dobransky, and he was a smallmouth master. I mean, this guy was so good on Lake Erie, and I spent a lot of time with him over the next couple of years fishing with. He and his wife were out there all the time, and I met people. Steve Clapper, who's one of the number 1 guys on Lake Erie, smallmouth fishing,
Okay.
and all these guys through him.
Gotcha.
And just watching these guys in that first tournament, I never knew what drop shotting was.
Okay.
I was
What is
I was
that?
out there
Explain
tubing. Drop shotting is a technique. The weight is actually at the end of the line,
it. Okay.
and then you can adjust your hook to whatever depth that the fish are at. If you got weed
Okay.
bottom, or
So
if you
it's
got
sinking
rock
it down,
bottom,
and then 2 feet up, you got a hook that's floating in the water now.
with your bait.
Okay. And you
Correct.
know that certain fish hang out 2 feet above the floor.
Well,
Or a foot,
So-
or whatever.
yeah, whatever,
It,
yeah.
whatever
As you
it is.
mentioned,
Yeah.
I've found situations to drop shot where I was fishing Sturgeon Bay area, and I was fishing a bay that had 8 inches
Of
of
bullshit at the bottom.
crappy,
Yeah.
nasty weeds that
So
you
you just
couldn't
move it.
drop. You couldn't Texas rig something or throw something that had a weight peg to the front. As soon as you drop shot it, because those fish are just right above those
Right
weeds,
on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you could adjust it.
And go, oh, I'm noticing it's a little
And you're
deeper over
right
here with the
there.
crap. At 3 feet up is
Yeah.
where I need to be.
Yeah.
I've gone as much as
Okay.
4 feet.
Okay,
yeah, like
yeah.
Cricket
I
Creek,
really
for
have.
example, right
Yeah.
down the street from here. I drop shot over there all the time. It's nothing but weeds.
Yeah.
Nobody fishes it because of it, but I show up with a
Yeah.
drop shot. I think I tie it a little bit after 2
Yeah.
feet, right at that line, and you don't even see fish. You put that drop shot in, it sinks. I don't care if it's a wacky rig or you got a little minnow on there, and you just finesse it a little bit, and they're shooting out of the weeds right at it.
Yeah.
You're slaying it.
So I learned that my very first season, I managed to make 4 top 20 finishes that first year, and the one tournament, the guy was drop shotting, and I'd never seen it before, and I tied one. And when I went pro the following season, I think I caught majority of my fish the next
drop
couple
shot.
seasons on the drop shot, and I learned it from him.
Yeah.
And that's pretty special when you watch people that you see on TV and you aspire
respect
to,
and, yeah.
and then
Look
you
up to,
learn those things from them and you use it and
it
you,
works.
and then you do well.
Yeah.
I mean it's really, yeah.
Well, someone had to teach them at some point, you know. It's
Oh,
like
sure.
information gets passed down.
With what he said, I remember I was talking to Richie about it earlier. I remember growing up as a little kid watching Bill Dance fish 7 o'clock at night on TV.
Yep.
Every night I'm
Really?
sitting there
I
on,
don't
you
even
know,
know
the
about this.
little old TVs watching him fish. And I was like, oh, yeah. You know, I learned
Yep.
a lot from that.
That's cool, actually. I didn't even.
Yeah, and it's important to pay attention and learn, but it's also important to be your own individual.
Yeah,
And that's
figure
what
out
I
what
found
works for you and
because-
what you
because-
like to fish for. And
Because I
Yeah.
found that I've been able to take different techniques and tweak them a little bit
make it
in
your
certain
own.
instances where I literally will be fishing in the boat with a buddy or an angler, and we're using the same exact bait, same exact color, but little tweaks where like I have this stuff. It's we call it Italian. It's called
Yeah.
Spike It, Dip and Glow, and it's a chartreuse dye that has an Italian scent. I put a little bit of that on, and
Yep.
I will catch fish all day long. And
Just that little subtle difference.
that little subtle difference
Yep.
can make it.
All the difference, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And that's what we were talking last week about beer with these guys. You guys are brewers, and they had brought up this little thing about like, you know, yeast can travel in the air from one thing to another, and it could spoil a whole batch of beer. And like these little things, and anyone when you get into these hobbies,
I never heard
there's
that.
such intricate little things that
Oh,
like
yeah.
I would never think of that you guys are bringing
So
up right now.
beer
It's like,
can get a yeast infection.
yes, I actually brought that up.
I
Yes,
was-
I actually
Yeah.
did bring that up. We talked about this.
Yeah.
Like-
line, you know, like fishing line itself is a
Yeah.
huge difference.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Huge
definitely
difference.
is.
Okay.
I mean,
So what are the differences?
well, you've got monofilament
Strength and-
lines
okay.
that stretch a little bit
Yeah.
more, so you'll use that on baits that when the fish grabs it, gives them a little bit more time to grab the bait because it stretches a little
Okay.
bit more,
Yeah.
lets them take it. And then you've got braids, which are just solid lines. There's
Okay,
just
so you
for
want for like
setting
some
them,
big ass
just
fish.
a a lot of people use jigs and things like that
then
on
you,
them.
then you got your
Fluorocarbons.
fluorocarbons,
which are
and,
huge because
and each one of them has their different,
Gotcha.
techniques.
sure.
Braid.
Reasons why you use them, yeah.
With braid is great for top water because braid doesn't sink very well.
Gotcha.
And then where
Especially heavy cover.
fluorocarbon will sink, and it has properties that makes it disappear in the water.
Mhm.
Monofilament, or there's then the copolymers.
Yeah.
I strictly use Vicious fishing line, and they have the whole line. So I have reels rigged up with every different type of line depending on my situation, and you got the abrasion resistance of different one versus the stretch of another.
Yep.
And it makes a huge difference.
Sure.
Especially when you start talking about using lighter line. A lot of people like to use, they think, okay, I'm going to catch a 5, 6, 8 pound bass. I need to use 15, 20 pound line. Well, there's times that you want to actually downsize to 6,
Sure.
8 pound line.
Yep.
And use the lightest line possible. I do the same
Why
thing.
is
I
that?
do the same thing with salmon fishing because
Well,
go ahead.
yeah,
go
because
ahead.
because when you're fishing deeper water as
Yeah.
well, some of the thinner line that you can use gets down quicker.
Gotcha.
So the fluorocarbons a lot of time will come into play because you can get the same pound test,
Okay.
but in a thinner line.
Yeah.
Plus it disappears. So you can get a bait down there pretty easy. Smallmouth fishing on Lake Erie, a lot of times with my tube jigs, I would use 10-pound test, but it was a fluorocarbon, so it was actually like a 6-pound test diameter.
Yeah.
And then my drop shot, I'd use an 8-pound test, but it's just a matter of getting the bait down where you want it. What it is that you're trying to do will kind of tell you.
And it does make a huge difference. I was fishing Traverse Bay up in Traverse City, Michigan, and I pulled up on Mark Zona, and he was out there with his boys. Mark Zona is a huge fishing guy. You know, I saw him launch. I'm like, hey, I told my brother, that's Mark Zona. And he looked at me. He doesn't fish. He's like, Who the fuck is Mark Zona?
How do you even know this?
I said, don't worry about it. I said, man, this guy is awesome. And he left his truck unlocked, so I left my business card, and I'm like, that was kind of creepy. I'm like, but I don't care. I met him out on the water because he fished. He went to the same spot that I was going to, and we fished in the same area. And I was not, we were fishing basically the same types of presentations, but I watched them just pop fish after fish, and we weren't getting them. And then we got close enough. He's like, man, downsize your line. He's like, they're wanting it small. He's like, downsize your bait, go light line. So we switched over from our bait casters to our spinning rods, dropped down to 6 and 8 pound test, smaller jigs, and boom, we were on fish.
That's crazy to me.
Mark Zona really is. He is a great guy.
Yeah,
I met him my first season fishing as co-angler. I was with Mike Trombley out on Lake Erie, and we're fishing next to a guy, and it was Mark Zona. Okay. Which I had seen before. I had read a lot about him.
Shout out to Mark Zona.
He wasn't hosting. He wasn't hosting BASS yet. But he was fishing the circuit at the time. So we're fishing next to each other, and then I got a chance to talk to him at the tournament in Virginia, or not Virginia. No, I can't remember that.
Yeah,
Lake Champlain.
Okay, yeah.
And he's just one of those guys that come up and tell you everything that he's learned for that lake.
So he's willing to help and stuff.
He does.
Yeah, he's not trying
really
to be a
does.
dick like,
no,
I'm keeping my secrets to myself.
He
there
is
are
a
guys
real
that will do
upstanding
I'm sure there are.
Sure.
I mean,
but
he is a really upstanding guy.
He is a fisherman's fisherman.
Yep.
He's willing to give his knowledge, and that's cool.
Yep.
He doesn't care that if you're having a bad time, he's gonna try to help you out.
That's awesome.
I've talked with him over at Bass Pro Shops, and just talk to him like, hey, just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And just he's not afraid to speak his mind, but he's also just down to earth. And most of the guys on the circuit, most of the guys you see on TV are that way.
Yeah.
I know through some of my pro staff, I'm friends with, Chase Parsons and Eric Hadia and Gillespie, just knowing them on the pro staffs, and you see them on TV and you think, oh, that's kind of stuck up. No, these people are wanting to teach, and that's kind of the route I've taken with my career in fishing, is to teach people.
I think you make it more proud. You may maybe teach somebody something like that, and you just gave them their best fishing story ever. You gave them that one tip, and they caught their biggest fish of their life, and now they'll never forget you.
Even without the biggest fish, like with some that I've learned over the years with people that are trying to get into fishing, it's like a lot of them are intimidated by if you're a halfway decent fisherman, and they're like, hey, can you show me how to tie this knot, or what should I do for this? And they're almost afraid to ask the question. But inside, I'm like, I would love to show you.
See, I'm that kind of guy.
Like, I want to let you know.
Like, I'm just not going to tell anyone if my ship breaks. Someone's like,
it would upset me if I couldn't get a co-angler fish when they were in the back of my boat. I always tried to
make sure they were having a good time.
Make sure the guy was catching fish and had a chance of.
I'd rather have them catch fish than me.
That was important.
And that's big for
cool.
me now that I've got an 8-year-old boy, and I've got a 7-year-old girl and a 5-year-old. Excuse me. Oh. I might have to have somebody beer me soon.
Yeah. We can make that happen.
And whatever you got that's in a can that's not going to hurt me. Uh-oh. Here we go.
Like a beer snap. You snap your fingers and a beer flies at you.
Ready? There it is. Good toss, Rob. Good toss.
Okay, now make sure this
completion percentage still at 100%.
But
still 100%.
I'm, the biggest thrill I get is watching somebody else catch a fish.
Yeah,
I agree.
That, I've been out fishing with many people and kind of taught them the basics. And then I took my wife out last year salmon fishing in the fall, and I didn't care if I caught a fish.
But you wanted her to catch
I
a real
wanted her to
fish.
catch one.
That's even more rewarding.
And what was hilarious is I took her out twice. One time was trolling, which trolling, that's a whole different animal. But we went out in the fall casting for them, which is just, if you ever hook into a king salmon casting, it's like getting hit by a freight train.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So I took her out, and there's fish jumping all over, and fish in the evening. You start about 5 o'clock and into dark, and she's like, we actually got lucky, and somebody kept the kids overnight. So
nice.
She's like, well, we'll fish till about 9. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
We'll see. If I have anything to do with it, we're gonna fish later.
Yeah.
But I didn't,
You didn't push that agenda right.
I can't say that too loud because
no, she's far over there. She's not gonna hear you.
But about 8:30 comes around, and 8:45, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to go soon. And all of a sudden, she's like, fish
Feels
on.
one? Yeah.
And I turn around, and I'm like, sure enough, her rod's doubled over. I'm like, oh yeah, she got a nice 14-pound salmon.
You stayed for longer, I'm sure.
I think I squealed louder than her. I mean, I'm jumping up. I'm 47-year-old man jumping up and down the boat, going, "Oh my god, look at this!" Because just excited for her.
Yeah.
And
well,
then,
you got a fan for life now.
Yeah,
She's all into fishing.
Then
now,
she looked at me and she's like, "We're not leaving."
Yeah,
that's all it takes.
Yeah,
that's all
it takes.
Yeah. That one.
It's special when you take somebody out there. You know, when you do it with your grandfather, when you were little, and your parents, and then you're with your friends for a while, and then you have your own kids. Tyler and Sam.
And you're on the next
with
level
them,
of this now.
And they fish with me all the time, and then now we've got Emmett.
Yeah, now you got a grandson.
He's 6 years old, and he's come out, and he's a slayer.
He's a slayer.
He's been catching some monster bluegills.
Nice.
He was out with us.
Hell yeah!
And I'm excited to get him, and then Lane. Lane's. He's going to be close to.
He's getting up there.
Getting ready.
Yeah.
Jude, he's only a couple months here.
He's
not going to be ready for a little while. But
you got about 5 years.
I tell you,
he's bait. Yeah. We call him bait.
There's times that I have contemplated putting down my $250 combo and picking up the Princess rod. Because that Princess pole will catch fish every time. I mean, I've been out in the boat, and I've had
they still have the
girls
Zebco on there, right?
What's that?
They still have the Zebco on
I believe it
there?
is, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Zebco 33, but it's a pink 3-foot pole, and all of a sudden I turn around and the little one, she's 5, and she's like, I got one, Daddy, and I'm like, I'm like, okay, it's a little bluegill. I turn around, and she's got this 2-pound largemouth jumping out of the water. I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to play with the Princess pole now. And,
I think
that's hilarious.
There are actually clubs out there.
You can only fish with those?
That do tournaments where you can only fish with the Princess pole or
awesome.
Snoopy rods.
Spider-Man or something.
Spider-Man, That's what,
it's funny. I went out a couple
Emmett
times with
Spider-Man.
my little 17-inch ice rod with some 7-pound P line on it. I was like crappie shooting it. So you hold the your bait, the hook, lure, whatever you're using, and you have a bend in it, and then you just let go.
That's what you were kind of talking about.
And I was just slingshotting it with my ice rod. And at this lake, it's local to here. It's about 2.5 miles away. And I caught 25 bass there. I mean, there was nothing bigger than 3 pounds. Little. It was a spin reel setup instead. But same thing.
That's all. What is it?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, so you're flicking them in.
Yeah, so you just get that bend and you just flick it. It shoots, and they were just taking it, fish after fish. It was the time of my life. My bass rod just sitting in the corner, all sad, like, oh, aren't you going to use me at all? No, I'm having fun because you fight. It's a little 1-1 ratio, so. you really got to reel forever until you get the fish in.
Oh, yeah, and I have to elaborate on what he just said about how his rod was talking to him.
Oh, it was. I'll tell you.
We have, at least I do, obviously he does, is, you almost feel bad if you don't pick up a certain rod because you're like, oh, I'll
use you later, honey.
I'm like, I'll use you later, honey. And there's been times, I've been, fishing a tournament.
It's a thing.
And I think I told you earlier where you get a little tense, and then all of a sudden, you're in the front of the boat, you're talking to your bait, going, "Listen here, you son of a bitch." It's like
you're gonna look hungry down there. You're gonna look appetizing.
And
I know I've done it a couple dozen times at least. Please.
I've taught Amy the whole. Here, fishy. And I tell you what,
it works. That works.
That work. There's two things. Actually, three things. To hear fishy. There's two other things that work in a boat to catch fish.
What is that?
Take a leak.
Or
grab a sandwich.
Oh, always take a leak. I remember being taught that as a little kid.
Like
before kindergarten, even piss off the front of the boat.
That's
Go to take a leak, and there it goes, man. Every time.
That's hilarious.
You just, when you teach the kids that,
Yeah.
You got to make sure that it's like they don't take the wrong opportunity where they're standing in the bow of the boat while all the other boats are going by going, "Look, Daddy."
I'm sorry, everyone. Everyone, close your eyes.
The crazy thing is, though, 9 times out of 10, it actually does work. And like sometimes with certain baits, I'll like pet my bait. Or I got my rituals. I'm pretty sure you guys do too.
Oh yeah.
Like I'll put something on and I'll just like put it in the water and just move it around a little bit. Make sure it's okay, even though we all know it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'll look at it and be all right. Let's make that cast.
Well, I was salmon fishing one time and we're trolling and it's been a slow day and we're running downriggers and then on the side we run dipsies, which are divers that dive it deep.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I gotta take a leak. So I'm leaning over to the gunnel right at the dipsy rod, and I'm taking a leak, and I'm like, I had to tuck my shirt in anyway, so I had pulled my pants down a little bit further instead of just opening the fly. And then I'm just finishing up, and that rod in front of me just goes, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, what do I? I'm like, oh, screw it. I grabbed the rod.
Leave it hanging out.
I'm fighting a fish with my pants around my ankle. My buddy who owns a boat, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, I don't care.
Hold on.
I'm catching a fish. I'm like, I don't care. You don't have a camera on me. I'm catching a fish.
Yeah, you see my ass. Okay. Grown men. Gonna wrap it up. All right, do we have enough time to get these guys on the thing? Oh, we're about to be done. All right, we'll come back for a second segment here in a second. We'll be right back. Signing out for just a moment. And we're back. We got another segment in here. Fishing. We got another panelist on here as well. Sanfillipo in the flesh. Thank you so much for coming out. So Sam does a little fishing, and actually, fun fact, the most fishing I've ever done is actually on the company trip. Sam takes us on every year, and we go on the Erie and we do some walleye fishing, and it's the most fishing I've ever done. So thank you for that. But
my pleasure.
I want to work.
No,
yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, right.
Can I work for you, Sam?
Walleye.
I want to.
Yeah, we're hiring.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's how I ended up walleye fishing on Lake Erie. Was with a boss that took us out there too.
Yeah, I fish Erie every spring, so I happily go for free.
Yeah, absolutely. All you got to do is work. You don't got to work that much either. We'll bring you on for a couple hours a week.
If you're a prime example of what you have to do.
You don't got to work very hard.
Shit,
yeah. I don't even wear shoes for.
I know. But then again, I was wondering if that was because he doesn't pay you enough, so you can't afford shoes.
Oh no, the pants! Look at the pants. This is a choice.
You do have some style. Always the dress pants, the nice polo,
thank you,
and no shoes.
Absolutely.
I told my wife, I was like, you know what? When I'm on, I gotta ask JP, why doesn't he wear shoes? But I'm like, because
he's the hammer.
That's
why.
Yeah.
He's the hammer.
Yeah.
He's the hammer.
You're the hammer.
Okay. Did you ever hear that story?
No.
Oh yeah. Fullback, right?
Running back, fullback. I play a lot of different positions.
Oh,
the hammer.
But
I thought you were.
I thought
you were a tight end.
Football legend.
Yeah.
I did
Justin
do
Peacock.
okay. I did do okay. I like to try to run people over.
He did better. I have some footage, actually, a game
King College
that I went to. Yeah. And he just ran right over somebody. Just pow! Wow.
Well,
That
when we
was-
were
it
at
is just-
Putting
yeah.
in Bay on our fishing trip, he kind of was reliving some of his running people over. So
Well, South Bass Island,
a
it
couple of his
depends.
coworkers
it
got ran over.
Yeah, it depends on the time of the year you go to South Bass Island. That could be a very
Yeah.
dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
South
You know.
Bass, because we're talking about Put-in Bay Island.
That South Bass is
Yeah,
that the
Put-
same
Put-in
Put-in
Bay.
It's
Yeah.
one of
Put-
the. I think it's one
Put-
of the.
Put-
yeah.
Put-in Bay is on South Bass Island.
Oh, okay.
Now, Put-in Bay is the Lake Geneva of Ohio.
Yes.
And when you go there between Memorial Day and Labor Day,
Yes, that's when we usually
you're
go.
likely
Yeah.
to see a lot of naked people.
Is that what that is?
No.
When we go,
we just go fishing.
when we
don't-
go,
there's
it's
nothing like
it's
that.
just fishermen.
Sure.
You know, we're
Strictly
there the first week of May. It's just fishermen.
Yeah,
It's
us too.
amazing because we will get there on a Saturday. We'll launch the boat on Saturday, and you're fighting golf carts that are going
Yes.
up and down.
It's
you're
wild.
You're seeing. We've seen transvestites. We've seen.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. But
Some of
you
our
know
guys
what?
wear costumes, but it's not intentional.
And then we've seen
Not
transvestites. Getting off the ferry, because you got to take a ferry over with the
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah, you
We've
do.
seen, girls coming off from bachelorette parties with broken heels.
Oh, yeah.
And, just staggering to the walk of shame.
Yeah.
We get on there on Saturday, you see that, the partying, and then come Sunday night, we get off the water.
No one's there.
It's like a ghost.
Yeah.
You could hear crickets, and that's what we like because
Yeah.
we're there to fish. We
You're
get
there for
up in the
business.
morning. We're on the water at 6-7 a.m. We're off the water at 7 p.m. We're cleaning fish.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty much us too. The whole time we're just cleaning fish.
Yeah.
Fishing
I'm
the
sure
whole time.
I'm sure
Just-
no beers
It's
involved.
constant. No, we don't
Well,
even drink.
What we do is we go out of the Fisherman's Wharf. Which,
Oh, yeah.
we
Out
just
of-
kinda
yeah.
shout
Thank
out
you,
to
Fisherman's
Sure.
Wharf.
Yeah.
Fisherman's
guys.
Wharf is
Great
very
guys,
great.
the Fisherman's Wharf.
Great guys, and we had we've been going there about 5 years.
Well, we've had 4 trips there over
Four
a 5-year span.
Yeah.
Fisherman's Wharf is a phenomenal place.
Yep.
And
Yeah, thank you guys.
What's
Yeah,
what's
we actually,
scary
that's where we
though,
went out of.
Oh, really?
is-
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, we
is
did.
almost every year, like not this past year with COVID, the year before, we fished off of South Bass Island, and we had northwest winds all day long, and that brought that water up 2 to 3, I think almost 4 feet,
Yeah.
where it was coming over the road on the island.
Wow.
Fisherman's Wharf is located in a low spot. Every year, I have to give a shout out to Fisherman's Wharf because they get flooded out every
Really?
year because they're in a low point down there, and
The way the water flows.
the
it
water
just
comes
gets
up
smashed.
onto the mainland
Yeah.
and floods Fisherman's Wharf. I've actually seen, and I'm sure if Fisherman's Wharf, if one of the guys is watching, I've watched them do a YouTube video. They're running church boards, which, I had to say church board because that's one of my sponsors. But they're running, and they're just making a joke because they're running planer boards in the street
Okay.
in front of Fisherman's Wharf.
Coming off of
And it's quite,
Doing their best.
those guys over there, I can't believe they have to put up with,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and
Every
they
year.
stay in business, and their guides are great. I haven't run with any of those guys. Personally, I do get information from them
Yeah.
because we're running out there by
Well,
ourselves.
they're out there every
and
day,
and
so
that's
they know
that's the
what's going
thing is, to kind of to rein myself back in because I tend to get a little word vomit.
Yeah.
You're
good.
Back to another,
great.
the original topic was, we were talking about how you pay attention to what other people are doing.
Yeah.
If you get in good with some of these guides, wherever you're fishing, I've got
learn the water
people-
any way that you can.
Jules, who
Mm-hmm.
guides. She guides out of Ohio on Lake Erie. Jules is a guide. She used to fish the tournament circuit, and she is like, I would have to say she's like top notch in
Nice.
her category as a fisher person.
Shout out to Jules
Yeah.
as well then.
Jules,
Yeah.
Where
Check
does
her
she
out.
Fish out of? What
And-
kind of boat does she fish?
Yeah,
she
we-
fishes out. I believe it's a Ranger. Hey, buddy.
Yeah,
See, now
No,
we
no,
Red
okay.
Ranger.
We
I
would
gotta
take my-
just
I've seen
do
her boat.
a quick introduction.
Yeah. Say hi.
This is my son Ben,
Say hi, Ben.
and
Frankenstein.
I was talking earlier about kids out fishing,
Yeah.
and I would rather watch this man catch a big fish than me catch something all day long.
I know Sam feels the same way, and I know Eric feels the same way.
Oh, absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd
I
rather
haven't
watch
had that yet with my daughter. She's 5,
Yeah.
and I'm not a big fisherman, but I want to learn. Like,
Well-
I need to know how to tie the knots. I need to know how to set the lure. Like, I don't know this.
You're
Well,
never too old.
My dad,
You're
my
never too old
grandfather
to learn.
started me. And
No,
it was great.
never.
Never too old to learn.
No, I agree with that.
No, I didn't even start bass fishing tournaments until I was in my early 30s. I mean, that's really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of missed that whole part of it because I was always just out fun fishing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
we
yeah, absolutely.
take going out with the kids or going out with friends,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then as it progressed into tournament fishing to where you're fishing with other guys and you're learning from them, which our club,
Yeah.
Anglers Unlimited, really is a
Which-
teaching club. I
it's
mean,
a
you
great-
really
Shout out
learn
to
a lot.
Anglers Unlimited
They're-
as well.
Anglers
it's a
Unlimited.
great.
Anglers
It's a
Unlimited.
great group of. I've spoke at their meetings. A
Yep.
great group of people.
Yep.
And go back kind of. I apologize. I tend to jump all over the
Hey,
place.
go for it. That's what we want you
It's
here
all right.
for.
You
Cole.
know,
Have another beer.
That's why you're here.
You become friends with these people in the whole wonder world of, as much as the older folks, even though I'm probably an old folk being 47, the Facebook thing, social media is a huge thing to learn off of.
Yeah.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't
Or
think
YouTube. Go watch a YouTube video. On
but
something,
I've met a lot
Yeah,
of
it's Google.
I'm a member of the NPAA, which is the National Professional Anglers Association, and I've met a lot of great people through that. And even though some of them I haven't actually had a chance to sit down and say, hey, talk to them directly, I've been able to communicate with them over Facebook or that and
Sure.
become friends with them. And they know that I'm not out for glory or anything like that. And I can get a hold of Jules when I'm out in Lake Erie and say,
Sure.
excuse me, hey, Jules, I'll message her.
Yeah.
We're out here fishing off a middle bass or north bass. And I'll look at her reports and, I'll message her, say, what's working for you? And these people are more than willing
That's
to help
awesome.
out.
See, I like that
they
community
do.
feel.
They
of
do.
that.
There's-
Yeah.
The people are willing to give their information. And be
A
like,
lot of
"Hey,
people
be
are like that.
successful too."
Well,
A
and
lot
that's-
of people are like that in fishing. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody that I met along the way
Yep.
was always into showing you the way that they
Yeah, I
fish,
think
and you
that's
learn
a
those
trait
things.
of most fishermen.
You know.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
yeah, they
I
wanna
would have
help,
to say
yeah.
that is, of most fishermen, that is
Yep.
the one of the things that I've learned, that they're willing to share,
Yeah.
even tournament fishermen. Now obviously during a tournament you're going to see a tournament angler, and you can look in his boat and you're going to see all his rods rigged up, and you're going to realize that everything he's got on those rods he's not throwing.
It's just for show.
It's just for show.
It is. Yeah. There's
is.
a lot of guys that do that.
Because he
they just
doesn't-
rig up
Well, I'll
all
tell you
kinds
one
of
thing that's
goofy
just
And
for
stuff.
show,
I honestly
and
don't
that's a
blame
trait
him.
of this show, by the way, is signing this axe. So don't mean to cut you off, but
Yeah, you do.
we've been
But
meaning to
that's
get to
okay.
this. Well, you guys are good. You guys are,
Don't
you
drop.
guys are keeping a pretty
Just
good conversation.
don't drop
here.
that on your foot.
I was trying to get
because-
this. Oh,
yeah, the whole barefoot axe.
Hey, if you're going barefoot, you got to know how to act barefoot. All right, I know when I'm holding an axe, I'm extra careful because I'm barefoot. So I take the responsibility of living the barefoot life.
I thought I saw an axe. I thought
Be
I.
careful. There's
Okay.
there's no guard on there currently.
All
But,
right.
sign on the handle, please.
I
All
thought
right.
I saw an
I'll do
axe
that.
handle around here that was missing a head, though.
Oh yeah, there was some problem with some guy that works for the show that was trying to chop wood for an advertisement we were doing, and he mishit it, and he caught the handle right on the log and snapped his brand new axe that he just bought.
I have to.
Wow.
I
He
have-
wears purple a ton. That guy.
I can tell you, I've
Doesn't
never
like to
done
wear
any
shoes
such
either.
thing. I've never done any such thing at all.
Never done anything like that.
So we were talking about
So
rituals.
this involves me
Yeah,
having to
earlier.
remember
Yeah.
how to spell my name.
Yeah,
So
I hope you do.
minor D.
So
Do I print or sign?
so I used to
Eric here.
I used to do a couple of rituals before tournaments.
Okay, yeah. What do you got?
And sometimes it would be doing a couple of casts with a rod into a bucket or something
yeah.
like that. But what I learned from Dion Hibden,
Okay, it's another
who's
well-known
a
local
really
guy.
well-known fisherman. Hito Gibden was his father. Had a lot of different baits, but Dion, I I was fishing with a good friend of his at Lake Champlain, and they brought me back to where they were staying.
Yeah.
And they had a table with about 10 different types of tequila.
Nice.
And
the story's going.
and I'm only, it's my first time doing this. It was my second tournament, I think, and I walk up into all these and he's like, pick your tequila, and so he got me, Dion Hibden got me into doing a tequila shot or two, or maybe three.
I thought you were gonna leave it like
the night.
So he got me drunk as
the
hell.
night before.
Well,
the night before the tournament.
That's what they do.
The
to
night before the first tournament, not during practice, but the night before the first tournament day.
Yeah.
You do a couple shots of tequila. And I'm telling you what, it
there's a
worked
worm
really
in there,
well.
right? In tequila, so then there's a worm. It's like a
Well,
that's mezcal.
symbolic.
That's mezcal.
No,
A little
I don't know where you're going with this, JP.
Yeah.
When you
Well,
guys
use
fish
worms
these
as
tournaments,
bait,
they
and
let
there's
you
worms
pound
in
beers
tequila?
the whole time? Or?
No. Well, honestly, when I fish,
Yeah. You're
very,
business, aren't you?
very rarely will you ever find me in the boat with any alcohol.
Really?
If I fish when I go on vacation up north in northern Wisconsin, I will take a couple beers in the boat.
I have a couple beers. That's it.
If I'm fishing on Lake Michigan in somebody else's boat,
Getting hammered?
no,
Oh,
never.
no. Opposite.
Absolutely.
Opposite. Okay.
I'll have a couple beers,
Yeah.
but otherwise, it was kind of funny. We just recently went to Eagle River on our honeymoon.
Eagle River's a nice spot. I like Eagle River.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And Amy and I, my wife and I, were out in the boat, and we went out about noon. We fished for about 7 hours, and she packed lunch and all kinds of stuff, and she kept asking me, "Do you want something to eat?" I'm like, I'm fishing. And that's just
Your business, man. You're all business.
I'll tell you,
I'm
when
having
you're fishing,
fun.
it's hard to stop and drink a beer because you're trying to fish.
Exactly.
We have a rule in my boat. It's called the 3-man. And the
Okay.
way it works is you're fishing, right?
Yeah.
But you want to have a beer.
Yeah.
So the rule is you go 3-man, you put your rod down,
Okay.
you grab a beer, you open it, you slam as much as you can, you pass it off to the other guy,
Ah.
you keep fishing, he slams it, gives it to the other guy, he finishes it.
So this is
So-
not for COVID times.
Everybody's
no,
fishing.
probably not. Yeah, no.
Yeah, this is pre-COVID.
Or if you have
Or if
herpes.
you don't give a shit.
you just
like,
got to know,
Yeah,
Sure,
or,
who you're with.
or if you've got some kind of lip fungus.
But do
or
you
something.
ever really know who you're with?
But
So
I know what
anyway,
you're saying,
so
though.
if
I
you
like the
want if
system.
you want to drink a lot of beers, you're like 3-man, then you have to say initiating a 3-man.
Initiating a
Because once the 3-man happens, the other two guys have to
gotta be in it.
participate. It's not optional.
You need the time. You're
Now
gonna-
wait a minute. Now when
Yeah.
you're done with your 3-man, we have something called the Oitman Crush. All right, we used to go fishing with this guy. His name was Johnny Oitman, and
Oh, I thought this was going a
Yeah,
whole
I thought.
different
Yeah,
way.
I was going a
Johnny
totally different
Oitman was a
direction.
fanatic.
We're older.
Johnny, you ain't even go
about his cooler not overflowing,
Okay.
and he had a lot of beer in there.
Yeah.
So what happened is when you finished your beer, you had to crush it so he could put it back in the cooler
Okay.
and leave room for other beers.
Yes.
So we called it the Oitman Crush. You initiate a 3-man, you pound it, you got to do the Oitman Crush.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun. you know?
Terrible last
Next thing
name.
you know, you drink 25 beers because one guy keeps going 3-man.
Peacock, so I don't really talk
I've
about it.
fished when I
not
started
as bad
fishing
as
Lake
what you-
Good or
Michigan,
bad?
and I started learning how to troll Lake Michigan before I had my own boat. I fished with buddies who had boats that stayed in the harbor, and some of them we nicknamed the beautiful people. You know, the people that they go out and they take a leisurely cruise. Their boat's spotless.
Yeah.
It's
Never gets worn. It's always
not,
so pretty.
if a fish touches the deck, they're like scrubbing it. So I'm out fishing with one of these beautiful people one time, and I had a beer,
This term.
and I did the crush. But the way I did the crush is I put the
On your
can,
head, or-
I put the can on the deck, and I stepped on it.
Oh no!
And
They did not like that.
no, because it's a fiberglass deck.
That's why they have boat shoes.
And I'm like, I should have known because
Yeah.
I couldn't wear any black shoes or anything like that on this nice, pretty white boat.
Yeah.
And
My boat,
no bananas either. Don't want to
it-
bring any
my
bananas in the boat.
oh yeah, that is something that I have been trying to teach my wife. She doesn't understand
You can't
that.
bring a banana.
You
on a
cannot have
Why?
a banana on a boat.
Now, what do you do
Okay.
if somebody does bring a banana?
Hang on, what
You
are we
throw
talking
the
about?
bit-
What's-
okay.
Explain this.
What's the protocol for
Explain
that?
this.
Well,
Why
I'm
not?
gonna let you try to
Might have
catch this
something to
beer.
Go back with the
It's an old-
spiders.
Let me
try to catch it. Go.
Okay, good.
I caught the
So-
basil Hayden one-handed, man.
That's
I
an
didn't
omen.
realize there's lights on you either when I threw it to you.
There's
It's not-
there-
you don't even know where it's coming
No,
from. It just
I got
pops
good
out.
hands. I got good
from
hands.
what I understand. Okay, bananas are not allowed on a boat. You know, an actual banana. Now, some people take it to the extent of banana flavored
I've
taffy.
never heard this at all.
Okay, it's
so
bad
please
luck,
explain
and
this.
the reason being is because
You don't wanna
back
get
in
caught with a banana.
back in the old days, when they used to transport bananas overseas on a boat, bananas have banana spiders and dangerous spiders
Ooh,
that are poisonous.
Okay, yeah.
And during one voyage, these spiders came out and killed most of the crew.
Holy shit!
That's
It's
no,
just an
that's
old.
what
that's
that's
what I
what
heard.
I've aware of.
Okay.
But it's
So that's the tall tale
so
kind of thing.
if
Well, and
you
if
re-
you're not catching fish,
So if you follow
fall
the,
to the banana every time.
if you want to really mess with somebody,
Yeah.
and I've seen videos where you know
Oh, yeah.
people will
you bring
throw
your lunch
banana
on the
in
boat and you got a banana and they like get livid.
So there are some
They'll throw the
people.
banana and you off the boat. That's it.
There are
gotta
some
swim.
You're
charter
both
captains.
out of here. Get off the boat.
There
They
are
won't let
some
you.
charter captains
What?
that will actually
gotta
tell
get
you
the hell up.
you are not.
Sam, are
You
you
have to get
telling me
off
if
the
we
boat.
go to Put in Bay next year and I bring a banana and start eating it on the first day of the boat, is that dude tossing me off?
They're not going to be happy about it.
You're
I can
so-
tell you.
Really?
I don't think
And
the
they won't-
Fisherman's Wharf
This is
would
insane.
ever
And
toss
he's-
you off.
And he's not joking.
But
They won't be like, no bananas,
It's cool.
just get rid of
It's
it.
cool.
They'd be like, you are
Get
never
the
coming on my boat again. It is
It's
a
possible,
serious
just so you
thing.
know.
my mind.
It's possible.
What? Because like I like bananas. Well,
Sure.
How has there not been a banana on this boat? How have I never experienced this?
Well,
Like-
and then you start getting deeper into it.
Maybe
Going,
you need to
well,
fish more
what
often."
about when it's
Yeah, I
summer
guess
and I'm
so.
wearing banana boat sunscreen?
Ooh, now you're talking.
But see, that's
Yeah,
a whole
Banana
different. It's an
Republic,
actual
yeah.
Can't
banana.
for Banana Republic. Or
Yeah,
can't,
no close.
If you
yeah.
if
for the Hawaiian tropic?
yeah,
but
if you want to mess with somebody, you know,
Bring a fake banana on the boat.
This E6 strawberry banana.
Yeah.
we-
Thank
Bring
you,
a
Posh.
plastic
Posh is one of
banana.
our new sponsors. Posh Plus, thank you for your smooth hits every time. On this podcast.
Did you just say smooth tits?
Yeah,
That's what I thought he
that's
said.
what you heard.
Yeah, that's
Then
what I
let's go
thought.
That's
with
what I heard.
Smooth hits.
I'm
smooth
sitting right
tits,
next to him. I
it's
thought he
all
said.
good.
I'm like,
all good.
I want that company.
so that's
yeah.
always a
Yeah.
nice thing to have on the boat.
Smooth tits or
uh-huh.
yeah. Well, we were talking about in the previous
I would
segment.
rather. I definitely don't want hairy tits on anything, and anywhere
Smooth
I'm
ones
at.
are nice.
Well, I've got.
curvy ones, smooth ones. I like them all.
We were talking about that in the first segment, you know, about how I think no, it was actually previous to this segment. I was saying I would trade my skill over the luck of women and children any day. Now,
It's that beginner's luck. It's like
it's not beginner's luck.
No, it's not.
for?
No,
The first
it's
or
just
second
different.
time. I've been
Recently,
married
a
for
couple
2
months.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I
Congratulations.
think it's just different. If you have somebody
And you were
on
just
your
in Eagle
boat
River for the-
Yeah,
That's
that
awesome.
fish is a little different or they're brand new to it,
yeah.
they throw something different than what you've ever thrown or thought you would throw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a guy on the boat for the first time take him out just to show him some things and pull out some ugly, nasty jig of some sort and go, oh my God, he's never going to catch anything on.
And he
And
hits.
10 minutes later, he's got the biggest
Well,
fish I've ever seen on that lake.
And
You know
that's
what I mean?
true. I mean, I brought some toys around, you know, and you can't really see them well, but I fish a
Hey,
lake.
this camera might be able to catch it. Well,
Might.
this camera.
one here?
Hey, point at this camera. There you
Okay,
go.
I fish a lake that is loaded with bluegill.
Okay.
And this is a bluegill crankbait. And I've thrown it and thrown it and thrown it and never got a bite. And the
Never
minute
throws it.
and what I prefer to do is I go something different. And so I throw this.
Okay.
Okay, does this look like something that you would catch? It's blue on
Maybe
the
in
back.
ocean.
It's
Yeah.
it's white.
Yeah,
it's
those are like some tropical
chartreuse.
fish of some
Nothing's
sort.
that
right?
Okay.
That's really a good color.
I will constantly catch fish on this.
Yep.
And I have a great guy, you know, not to plug anybody, but
No,
you
plug
know,
everybody, please. That's our whole
Daryl
show.
Wood.
Daryl Wood.
With
Thank you, Daryl
with
Wood.
high tech
He would if he could.
custom
he would if
baits.
He could, but it seems like he can.
He
So.
Yep.
he's a true artist, and he's a walleye guy, and I've kind of converted him to doing my bass baits. Now he does all my walleye baits because, I mean, where else can you fish for a fish that you use a bait that's called pink panties or boner. Honestly, they have the weirdest names.
There's a lot of
my
strange names
walleye
out
baits and my salmon baits, they're pink panties, boner.
Everyone's drunk. I feel like they're naming these things. They're hammering on a boat.
There's
like,
a spinner
Yeah.
bait called the
There's-
Las Vegas Hooker.
No,
It had a
no.
huge
The thing is,
chunky blade
they may
on
have
it.
thought of
that
that
would
color when they
smash 'em
saw
off and
a
rip
pair
it
of
out
pink
of the bone.
panties.
Yeah.
on
And
something,
I
that's
will
how the
throw-
name came up.
Yeah.
It's weird
Crazy-
how some of the
So,
names
Han,
came up.
I have a question.
Custom color
I
baits.
have a question though. How much does their heart hurt when you lose a lure like that? Like, cause I mean,
I always buy 2, 3, or 4 of the same color.
You see that?
okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so it's over. And if you guys want to get up and you want to go put it
Yeah,
in
but
that
still-
camera,
and,
I mean,
and,
when
and
you're-
the reason I
know
do
what?
that
When they're
is-
$6, $7,
you see-
$8, $15 sometimes
Well,
for
yeah,
baits.
it's a little bit.
the-
Oh,
the-
my gosh,
these
yeah.
are Spro.
It gets expensive.
Yeah.
Spro baits, and they're about $10, $12 a piece, and then on top of it, it's another $5 to $8 a piece to get them
Yep.
custom painted.
Yeah.
So yeah, it hurts a little bit.
It gets expensive, yeah.
But-
it's
but
good
the
to have
thing
friends
is-
that are in the bait business
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You know, Kota Kiriyami with Jackal Baits.
Yeah.
He
Hey, thank you, Jackal Baits.
Jackal Baits. They're some of the best.
You guys
crankbaits
ever get?
that-
You guys fishing locally, right around here?
I fish
Well,
everywhere.
I'm up north.
So
by
like
the,
Lake. What do we have around here? We got Lake Michigan, right? We
Well,
got
it's-
Bangs Lake
Swedish
in
fish.
Wakanda.
well,
Thank
we've
you,
got
Swedish
the
fish.
chain.
We
I
got the
I
chain.
we got
fish.
braidwood.
I fish
Yep.
steelhead in the streams in Indiana. I fish the Fox River, the DuPage River.
You ever try using one of these?
You know what? I have
you
used,
actually-
I
I've
have
heard
used
about
hot
this, right?
dogs.
we
They don't
actually
stay
have
on the hook,
used all
they
kinds of
dissolve.
different. We've tried
My
everything.
kids-
But you've literally tried these, right?
Everything. We've tried everything.
You know,
As a fisherman, you try just about
You
everything
do.
at one
Yeah.
point or another.
one of my favorite
With your friends.
One of my favorite baits.
Try
for-
everything.
when
Like,
when you're
everything?
everything. I'm not
you know
kidding.
what? You know-
everything.
I hate.
We've tried just about
Let's
everything.
talk about everything.
I don't
When you
have.
say everything,
I don't have it with me. There's a popular jig out now that I'm gonna buy just because it looks interesting. It's a stand-up jig, which means when it hits the bottom, the hook stands up, but it's shaped like boobs, and it is a very interesting looking jig, and I want to try it. And I'm a leg and ass man, so I figure what the hell. But
Little beer can.
they do have
little,
there's guys
there's-
that make them out of pop tabs.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
caps.
spoons, which is actually originally made out of an actual spoon.
Yeah.
You know, you cut the handle
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
My wife, as a joke for herself, actually, I don't think it was a joke, but she has a spoon that looks like a male's organ.
Genitalia.
Yeah, well, yeah. And
Big
to
John
be honest
Butler.
with
Look
you,
at dick. Look, guys, that's
little
not beater
dick
on the
spinner.
It's not beater on the
For
bush
taking her to
or
put in
the
bait.
dick. It's
I'm
a dick.
I'm
It's shaped like a
afraid
dick.
to use it because I'm afraid I'm going to catch a fish on it,
And then you're gonna feel weird about it. You'll be like, "That's
and
a gay ass fish."
then I'm going to
Not that there's anything wrong
It
with
is.
that.
then
Not there's
I'm going to
anything
take a
wrong.
picture, and they're going to be like, "What's hanging out of that fish's mouth?" I'm like,
Yeah.
nothing."
Yeah, boner. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by the way, we're gonna be coming back for another segment. Thank you guys so much for your time. I'm happy about this one too because I'm about to.
Thanks for
I have to
having
pee
us,
really
Struif.
bad. But let's just keep that. We'll keep that to ourselves. We'll edit this out. You guys, we'll see you in next segment. And we're back. Bonfire Banter, segment 3. We got Wes back. He's been hanging out. We've been waiting for him to jump back on here. And Wes, I got a good question for you to start this one out. Hey, what's your favorite spots? You said you fish a lot of local, and I think pretty much all of our, right now, we're pretty early on in our whole existence. We pretty much only got local people. So tell us where you're fishing local, man.
If I had to pick one, my top tier. It's a secret, so do what you will with it. Just make sure you release it. Take your picture, get rid of it. It's off of 22nd Street by Home Depot. Turn off
22nd Street by Home Depot. Okay. Oh, turn that. That's okay. Go. So 22nd Street by
It
Home
wasn't
Depot.
my problem. Somebody else did it, but
It's okay. No,
yeah,
don't worry. It's probably
22nd Street
kids.
behind Home Depot.
So this
Yeah.
is actually you used to live over there by Redstone American Grill.
Yeah, that's where
Yes.
you turn right
That
before
little
that.
pond.
Yeah, it says something like Staybridge Hotel area.
Yes. I used to live in the apartments right behind
I
there.
remodeled that hotel a few years
Dude,
back. Yeah.
they just built a huge thing over there. Like
yeah,
this
I used to have
huge-
an off-road spot there. You know, I'm a
and-
Jeeper.
Yeah,
and
no, that's
everything.
actually
Yeah.
now it's actually more populated because they built that thing over there. But I know exactly the spot you're talking about. It's actually, did you know on the map, if you look that spot up, it's called Utopia.
Tangent.
On a
No,
map.
I did
If
not
you
know
look it
that.
up, if you look it up on a map, it says Utopia. When we lived there, we would pull it up and people would be like, is this like a weird thing? Like, what is going on? But they call it Utopia, that area.
Yeah, let me tell you, the
Just-
fishing
it's not.
feels like Utopia.
Oh, it does.
Oh, yeah.
I was living there was not a Utopia. But
Yeah, it's pretty hot. Obviously, you know, your weather conditions and what you want to toss. But so the street you turn on is called Renaissance Drive.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Redstone.
And then you got Staybridge right here on
Yes.
the right, maybe half a block down. You go left, and then it's called Royce.
Royce
And
Realty, and that's where I used to live. That's
yeah.
so crazy. That's
Yeah,
that's so
and then
weird.
that
My
building
back apartment
now.
looked on that little lake.
Yeah, there's like 4 of them, I think. They're
I
all
had the
connected
white
too.
Fence. I had the little white fence that faces that thing.
Yeah.
I was in that back unit of that little building. But you know, you look at those townhouses.
I bet he remembers.
There was a little
that,
apartment
too.
building, and it wasn't even ever meant to be an apartment building. But we lived there. It was apartment at some point.
Yeah, right back
Yes.
just past it. Yeah, I know
Yeah, it's on the
exactly what you're
left-hand side
talking
when you're
about.
Pulling in.
Oh,
But
he's
yeah,
putting my
we lived
Jeep
right
back there a lot.
I wanted to get a kayak. See, I wish I would have been a fisherman and redone this episode because I would have reaped the benefits of this little honey hole that I
Oh, it
never
is
knew
a honey
it
hole.
was my backyard. But I
I've
wasn't
never
fishing.
hit it with a kayak yet, but
See, I
it'd
wanted
be
to get
really
a
good.
kayak. It was my backyard. I was like, get a kayak, paddle around there, but there was some raccoon issues in the attic, and they weren't the cleanliest about the cleanup.
Yeah, there's
So
like
we
some
didn't- we didn't
higher
stay.
end
We didn't stay
areas.
very
So
long.
you had some unwanted home guests.
A couple about the home guys. I think they were feasting on some of the fish above us. It smelled like fish a couple times, and I tasted it a couple times, but I wasn't eating fish at those times.
Yeah, so the main building
That's
when you go
interesting.
down Renaissance.
That could be another segment.
Yes.
The whole thing about mold and bad landlords and stuff.
Yeah, so you go down Renaissance. It'd be a north direction,
Yes.
and then you go left, and
know
it's called Royce.
Yes.
And that building now, it's technically abandoned,
It's
but
abandoned.
there's a few people there
It's
that go.
huge, too.
Maintenance
Royce Realty
crew.
is in that building.
It's gonna be hot during the week. Don't go there. Hit it on a Saturday or a Sunday.
oh really?
You
During
can
the
park.
week, it's worse to go there.
Yeah, they got a maintenance guy that's there, and he's hit or miss. He'll be like, "Oh, you can't be here," toss you out,
Oh, one of those.
or
I
he
love
might
it.
not be
It's a
there.
hidden,
But
can't go
Saturday,
Yeah,
Sundays,
it's like
they're great. So you go there. You got the first one right behind that abandoned building, and then like 3 or 4 more right next to that. And on average, you catch a little. They're decent, or if you're a newer fisher, on average about closer to 3-pound bass, depending on what you're using. You can drop shot it. We
So
talked
there's some
about that
bass in
before. Oh yeah, there's bass in there,
You're
like
catching
crazy.
some bass out of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's bullhead catfish too for the novice. You can go buy your night crawlers and.
So when you're drop shotting in this little place by Royce Realty, how deep are you setting this? 2 feet?
I set mine at about 13.5, so 13.5 inches.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
just
I was like,
over a foot.
Not
deep, bro.
13.
13.
No, not
feet.
13.5 feet.
Not 13.75.
I'd be surprised if it's 13
13.5
feet.
inches
Yeah.
on the dot.
Yeah, not 13.75.
Yeah. Not
Well, you have
13.25.
to take into
because
consideration
maybe
if
the
you're
fish
drifting,
can't see
too.
it 2 more
Yeah.
inches,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
personally what I do.
Hey, I like it.
No.
Yeah.
I believe you. You're talking very passionately about it. So that
No,
makes
this
me
place
believe
is
you.
awesome. Like
Yeah.
me and my buddy,
It's so
me and
funny
him
that this is my
fish
backyard.
together all the time, and we go there sometimes. We catch 4 or 5, or sometimes we're like having a competition up to 25 bass
Here's
a
an interesting
piece.
question for you. For something like that, and I don't even know the answer to this question. Obviously, I know you guys will, but I'm going to pose this one to Wes first, and I'll get you guys to elaborate. Do you eat bass? Is bass a good eating fish?
Oh, it's not my favorite by any means.
Okay.
Uh,
So, what do you guys think about this? Is it
Well,
I've only tried it one time.
it
so
is
usually releasing these fish, right? You're
Correct.
catching them, taking a picture,
For me, it's
saying
all
it's
sport.
bigger, putting like a
CP
ruler that makes it look
CPR.
like it's bigger.
CPR, catch, photo, and release.
Yep.
Okay.
However, through the ice,
Yeah.
in the cold water, It
Makes
is
them shrivel up.
No. The
They'll die anyway.
You get a better tasting fish.
Yeah.
And I will eat bass, and I'm sure I'll catch hell from all those who are catch and release fans, but there will be times that if you get a deep hook fish, or if you are looking for a meal, and you're fishing a pond or fishing a lake that has a lot of cookie cutter fish, which your 14s, your 15s, and you can take out those smaller fish. You don't want to take out the bigger fish because the bigger fish breed bigger fish.
Okay.
And you can keep some of those fish. And
your
bass
14s or 15s you're talking about are like the young
keeper
bucks kind of
size.
coming
Yeah,
up. Or
yeah,
like
your keeper
younger.
size.
Yep.
That's kind of how that place
obviously,
is.
it's not my choice of fish to eat. I'd rather eat bluegill, crappie, walleye.
Bluegill and crappie, you eat those?
Oh, yeah. Especially
Those
through
are some
the
of
ice.
best fishing.
Especially
best
through the
eating
ice.
Fish,
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I will. Up in northern Wisconsin, we'll keep some smaller bass. Just above the keeper limit, that we'll have.
Because that's the one thing I've
fry.
always feel like is like people catch walleye, you eat them, trout, perch, all these things. Like I don't ever feel like I ever go to a restaurant. It's like, oh, we got this smallmouth bass on the menu.
Well,
it's like
Yeah,
I
it's
won't
usually
eat.
not that way.
Then why is
No.
it not?
Yeah, it's
Why
it's just I just don't think it's as well known or as much of an eating fish. I mean, walleye is
Yeah.
It's
so
delicious.
good.
I love
Yeah.
walleye.
Walleye is
Oh,
top
Crappie,
tier.
bluegill, all
Walleye
of
is
those.
amazing.
I
Even
know-
pike. A lot
white
of people eat
fish
pike.
And pike.
Oof.
Oh yeah,
See,
pike.
I've never really eaten northern pike.
Northern pike. I
It
love
depends
them.
on how you
They
prepare
have little
pike.
teeth
in my
on the
opinion.
fried.
northern pikes, right? The northern pikes
Yeah.
have some teeth on them.
Oh yeah, I love them
Yeah.
fried or even pickled.
Yeah.
You take some of the.
I've had
oh
pickled one
Catfish.
time.
Pickled northern pike.
Wasn't bad.
Because they're hey buddy, they're when you pickle them, their bones, they have a lot of bones. They will actually soften, and you
Yeah.
can eat the whole thing.
See, I've heard about walleye almost because I worked at this place, Redstone in Oak Brook. Shout out to Redstone. It's
right
fantastic
there.
food. Oak Brook, right where he was talking about, right by Rice Realty. You go fish, go over there, eat some walleye right afterwards. They're a fantastic establishment. But we used to have this Parmesan crust of walleye over there.
Ugh.
And the bones, most people wouldn't notice them because they almost liquefy. The way the way breaded it and they cooked it, they would be in there. They can't debone this fish from what they were telling me. It was because the bones are so fine
Yeah,
on this
that's
walleye.
Really good
And
stuff.
and because the way they cook it, like it'll almost make them liquefy, like to where you kind of get a poke every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's like it makes you feel
tolerable.
better. Like
They're-
that's a real ass fish. That's not
Yeah.
like some.
And there's a lot of parts on a walleye.
It's not a big
that
fish from
people
McDonald's.
Don't
That's
realize
that's
you
some
can
real
eat
stuff.
Too.
Sure.
The
Yep.
walleye wings, which is the pectoral fins, and
Little
that's
little
a whole.
butter and some potato buds.
Yeah, a little
Oh,
lemon.
yeah.
Oh, we need a little
Potato
lemon.
buds, roll it around
Ooh,
in some
now
egg
you're
and
talking.
potato buds. Oh my god!
I have
I like
to
this.
jump on some local spots.
Yeah, tell me.
A lot of people hear about the Fox River.
Okay.
Now, okay.
That's about 45 minutes from here.
Well, yeah, it depends on where you go. You can go an hour. You can go half hour. You can also
Yeah, it goes-
you can do
yeah.
the same thing on the DuPage River.
Okay.
And what I like to do is I like to wade the river. Now, when
You put some
when
waders on, you go stand
And
out
the
there.
fox
to be
goes
honest with
way
you,
up,
you don't
too.
you don't ne-
Goes way
you
up.
don't you don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to throw waders on. On the Fox, I prefer waders just because
Okay.
it's not the cleanest in certain areas. But you can wet wade it. You can grab an old pair of tennis shoes, pair of shorts, obviously during the summer.
Yeah.
That's where
And,
you go most
and
of the
just
time.
and just
I've done that in UP of Michigan where I've just
and-
walked down this
yeah,
river. It's kind of on our
and
property.
you
It's
can
cool, but-
fish.
what are you
Yeah, I've
fishing with?
only
when
done
you,
that in Colorado myself.
wade
That's
out
cool.
there?
Well,
Walk the
if
river.
I'm
I love it.
a
I
lot
haven't
of
done
times
that.
I'm fishing with jig and twisters.
Okay.
I'll
What's
I'll
a
fly
twister
fish
mean?
it
What,
with woolly buggers or.
I love these names.
There's so many terms.
Buggers.
Yeah.
A twister,
Well,
a
woolly
twister is
buggers
just
is
a.
Hey,
basically-
let
it
Eric
looks like
go.
a
Let Eric go on
caterpillar.
this twister. Let
A
Eric go on this
twister is just it's the tail on a
Yeah,
on a little
spins.
plastic, and
Yeah,
it
it
just
just-
has a way
okay.
that it.
Basic-
I've seen those.
Or
Okay.
I'll
Twister.
fish with small little crankbaits. But a lot of times, what I really love to do with like the Fox or the DuPage is I like to just. I hate to call it this, but I like to cheat.
Yeah.
I'll go down there with a single number 6 hook a couple split shot on some light line, and I'll
yeah.
go and get some minnows, and I'll just lip hook a minnow.
So why is that cheating
throw it
though?
out
To
there.
a guy like you,
Well, okay.
that makes no sense to me that you're saying it's cheating.
Well,
Sounds
it's-
like you got a lot of information. That
You don't
just
have to
Some
try.
guys
It's
call
live
live
bait.
bait cheating.
It's live bait.
It's live
why?
bait.
In some
So
instances,
They move around for you.
in some instances,
Okay, but
in some
that just sounds like
instances,
the smarter move then, right?
well, like it depends. Like in the
Depends
fall,
on the sportsman.
in the fall,
I can respect that.
live bait comes really into play, especially when it comes to muskies
Okay.
Sure.
or even smallmouth. I'll go here in the next month. I'll go up to Lake Geneva and I'll start lindy rigging live bait. And now lindy rigging is basically we're fishing the deep break lines. All the smallmouth are congregated on these deep breaks. So like the front of the boat can be in 16 feet of the water.
Yeah.
And I got an 18-foot boat. So the front's in 16 and the back is in 25.
Sure.
So that's a deep break.
Yes.
And we'll actually take and have like 3 feet of line with a circle hook. Now, a circle hook,
Love my circles.
what we'll do that's on either a perch or a minnow, a big sucker minnow. We use perch if you can use them if you catch them from that lake.
yeah.
And the circle hook, what that does is prevents the fish from actually swallowing the hook and getting
Okay.
gut hook and
Your
hurting
wife
the
was
fish.
actually talking about off camera that she felt weird about one of the fish she caught with you.
Yeah.
It gutted it. You know, it swallowed it, and then she goes, yeah. About 2 seconds later, that that fish swam down and it was floating up, and she goes, she was kind of feeling bad. 2 seconds later, this bald eagle
Yep.
comes in, eats it. And she's like,
Oh my
I
gosh.
kind of feel better about that
was
now. It's
pretty
like
cool.
a little,
Yeah.
it's
Do you
We had a
catch
moment
for
like
your-
that
Yeah,
up in Hayward.
No,
we were
actually,
muskie fishing.
I'm curious
one time.
about that.
No, we'll find a bait shop and we'll get chubs or suckers. But
Oh, you
to
can
your
find them.
second-
That's good.
yeah, but most of the time, what we'll do is when we're fishing Lake Geneva, we'll go up on some of the sand points with little ice fishing jigs,
Uh-huh.
and we'll catch the sand perch or the yellow perch. But we're looking for 4 to 5 to 6 inchers.
Yeah.
And we'll lindy rig them. Like I said, we'll take like 36 to 48 inches of fluorocarbon leader with a circle hook and then a 3/4 ounce weight. And then we'll just drop that on the brakes and we'll just slowly work that. And the perch or the minnow is swimming behind it. And those smallmouth will come up and they'll eat it. And
Yeah.
you'll feel them. You'll be just working it. And we'll work it with like a bait caster or a spinning rod, and as soon as you feel them pick it up, you just give them line,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you just let them take it. And with the circle hook, you just reel, and what that hook does, it might be about down here, but it'll come up, it'll go, just like the
Yeah,
hook.
just like that.
Perfect.
That's what we're looking for.
And you just
Show me a little more of that, Cory.
and you'll get them right in the corner, but one of the little tricks, and and I'm sure there's guys out there that'll probably chastise me for giving away the perch thing.
I hope they
and
do.
that. But what I like
I
to
just gave
do,
away a really good
what
house
I like
spot.
to do is
got
I
one
like
more too.
I take the perch, and for those of you caught perch, they have a really spiny dorsal fin.
Yeah.
I'll take a pair of scissors and I'll cut.
So it doesn't stick
I'll
the fish.
cut the dorsal fin off.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is because if a bass comes up and grabs that perch, and the whole reason for the dorsal fin is their protection.
Sure. So
They'll
it flips
they'll
up
spike
and
it up.
sticks 'em. Yeah.
If they can't spike that up, the bass will hold on to it longer. And we've caught northern, we've caught walleye, we've caught lake trout doing that. But I'll go out and like when I said cheating, a true purist, like a fly fisherman, will never touch a spinning rod. So touching a spinning rod for a fly fisherman is cheating. Somebody who fishes on the
'Cause you have
regular.
this, like,
Or using
respect for
salmon eggs.
yourself.
It's like
It's like,
using salmon eggs on a
I wanna
fly
be
ro-
better.
fly rod. It's
Exactly.
just,
I'm better than that. I don't need
Right.
these like
See,
shortcuts.
That's where like I'm a hybrid. I
trying to-
love them both.
Yeah,
I
you're
got a
trying to
fly
figure
rod
out
behind me
the
right
fish.
now.
And I think a part of that is that again he is more of a. I don't want to dumb you down or anything like make you feel like you're not
probably
on the exact
accurate
level,
in
but-
whatever you're gonna say.
but what I was gonna say though is more so like I feel like you're more the hobby guy that's like tries stuff out, and these guys are more like the guys that would feel like I'm cheating
I feel the exact same way with cheating, especially with live bait. Yeah, definitely.
I think
but I love my
we were
spinning rod
younger,
in certain aspects.
Let him finish.
Yeah.
No, with the spinning rod, I feel the same way. Exactly what they're talking about.
Okay, so then Eric, you got to tell us a little bit about.
So we've used a lot of different baits. I mean, from the time that we're younger, we've used worms, we've used minnows, we've used all different kinds of baits. But when you can fake a fish out with artificial lures and catch them, that's where
that's
a different art.
It's like the ultimate.
It's
like the ultimate challenge to put. What we
I think it's like a bow hunter for deer.
Yeah, what we call is kind of like the program. Like when we're fishing Lake Erie, or Lake Michigan, we're trolling. We put a program together. Like we got the right presentation, we got the right depths, and
you take care of the details. Which is, I can respect in any industry or anything else like that. It's like you're thinking about all the details, and you're going into it going, I'm prepared.
Yeah.
We are ready to do this and this and this. It's for these kind of fish at this kind of year. It's like you're thinking about every aspect of it. That's what I love about getting these panels out here. And it's like the intricacies of each of these things is like so much more than I would realize. Like I go fishing every once in a while, but when we go on these trips, the guy's lining it for us, and he goes, oh, you give it a 10 count. You've cast it out, give it a 10 count, and then you start reeling slow.
Throwing the weapon.
Reeling slow.
Yeah.
And it's like,
because he knows
I wouldn't
the depth.
know. I'm gonna fish. I'm an idiot. I don't fish very often.
I got something weird for you.
I just want to start reeling it. I cast, I reel. I don't know.
I suppose
certain fish you give a 10-second count.
This is very strange.
Yeah.
So worked at a hotel a few years back. Doesn't matter. Met this guy. I guess grew up in Kentucky or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a different rig setup. Maybe one of you guys knows the name. It's with a live night crawler. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
No actual weight, nothing. So just your free line, and then you got a hook tied off at the bottom. Your normal cinch knot, whatever, and then another hook a little bit up. So then you got your two hooks, and you profile your live night crawler parallel to your line.
It's just like a spinner rig.
It's kind of weird. You just toss it in and let it sit, and it's laid out there. And I remember my cousin one time we were out there. We were catching bass, but
it's a snow.
He caught 2 bluegill that day.
Sounds like a snow.
Yeah, it's a snow.
Yeah, I didn't know what it's called, but man, that thing produced a few years back.
Oh yeah, that and I should have used the.
I wanted you on this axe, by the way. Before we forget, we're gonna run out of time.
Oh hell yeah!
I should have used.
Wes, I want to get you going.
The word.
Yeah, I got 2 local spots too.
The word of cheating is kind of not necessarily the right word, but
it's cheating in your own mind.
You're saying that it gives you a lot of purists like you're trying to you appreciate this hobby so much, and that this ability so much is like certain things to you feel like it's cheating because
we all want a challenge.
Yeah.
And that's why we call it cheating.
Yeah.
We want the challenge. We want the hunt.
It'd be like me going down the road in a car and I see a deer running down the road and I shoot it out of my car. That's not hunting. That's taking advantage of an opportunity.
We want the challenge.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't shoot out of the car. I would hit the car. I would take the car and swerve.
Yeah.
Or why waste a bullet?
Or throwing out food for bear if you're bear hunting.
Yes, I think that's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
I mean,
and see
being
that,
to me,
and honestly,
I agree.
That's a whole nother topic I can go on
we
about.
can go into that
because I've explained the baiting the bears, the dog running bears. That's a whole different topic.
Deer too are gonna die.
Kinda,
some of these deer, like you bait them and they lose their teeth. They're about to wither away to nothing in the cold and die.
That's kind of the same thing. And he hit it right on the spot with. We like the challenge.
That's exactly what it is.
And sometimes it's nice to just go out and I shouldn't say cheat. Go back to basics.
Yeah,
sure.
One of my absolute favorite ways to fish, and now that I've got the kids into fishing, it brings me back to that. Is float fishing. And when I say float fishing,
what does that mean? Bobber?
Bobber.
Yeah.
Float bobber.
An old red and white bobber. A little circle bobber.
Just a bobber.
With a
hook,
stick on
and
top,
worm,
doesn't matter.
Or whatever. I absolutely
it teaches you how to set the hook.
It does.
Right?
Yeah, like that. And back to base, like it teaches you how to set the hook.
You need to know it because that was the one thing. I started fishing with my boss.
Set too hard,
we go on these trips and I feel one. I go, oh, I got one, and I pull. He's like, dude, you're ripping it out of its mouth. He's
Yeah.
like, take it easy. He's like, you wanna.
I've caught
go.
so many fish
He's like,
with
you want to
ripped
go
lips.
and you want to set it. He's like, but if you go yanking it,
Well,
you're
that's the
gonna rip it
difference
right out of
between
its mouth.
walleye and bass fishing.
Sure.
And I don't know the intricacies.
well,
so for me, it's like I feel a fish, I'm excited, I'm gonna go. Oh, I'm gonna yank it.
I always get a kick
don't
out
know.
of. I have set the hook on while bass fishing and had fish go
So hard.
over the boat.
Yeah.
Or
Using
I set-
monofilament line when it
Yeah.
stretches and you go, and about 2 seconds and then here it comes.
and I have
Oh, what the hell?
and I have watched people set the hook on a tree.
Yeah,
And I tell them, I said, you know what? I said, it doesn't cost anything to set the hook.
that's right.
I said, it costs you a paycheck if you don't set the hook.
That's right.
Because I have actually had a fish. I'm like, oh, I'm hung up. And,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there trying to unhook it. And all of a sudden, my rod goes boom. And I'm
then
like,
it's gone.
I
Yeah.
just lost a fish because
Yeah.
I didn't set the hook. What's it cost me to set that hook? I don't know, 50 cents in a hook, maybe another quarter in a bait.
Yeah.
Obviously it's different in a
Yeah,
a $25 crankbait, but when that and that's kind of funny. But
It reminds me a lot about fishing. Yeah, I'll bring that up in a second.
yeah.
It reminds me a lot about fishing growing up down south for the alligator gars. I don't know if you guys had
Oh,
the
God,
pleasure
I've
to catch them yet.
bucket
I
list.
love it.
No.
It is
Bucket
so
list.
primitive, but
How do you do this? Explain this.
they have such a bony mouth. I mean, the best trick is you fray out some nylon rope on the back of your treble hook. That's the easiest way, but you can also catch them top water on your your normal rebel baits or whatnot. But you don't cast in front of them, because it's realistically top water when they come along. You throw it next to them. They're like dinosaurs, and they always strike in a C pattern. So
what does that mean? You're striking a C pattern.
So
They turn- they like it when
here's
they're
here's your
turning.
fish.
Come
Here's
in.
your
Okay.
fish, and you throw it over here. That's how you're gonna get them. And one eye sees it
They wanna
because they got an
swoop
eye
around.
on each
Yeah, they
side,
can't really see forward.
and they
as much.
literally arc
Because
in
their
a
eyes on the
C.
sides of their heads, right?
But
I
the
mean,
thing
does that
is,
make
they
them
just
that
open
wide?
their
'Cause
mouth,
they're big.
but they don't actually close it all the way all the time. So if you fish topwater exclusively, like I try to all the time for bass, whatever, you're like, okay, cool. It's sight fishing. You see it, and you're trying to set the hook. With them, it's bony. It's more bony than a pike. You're probably not going to set, so you got to wait. And then let it slide back a little bit.
They're very finicky.
But
for such
those are
So you really got to feel
different
like you feel a little
trophy
tug.
fish.
You got to sit for a second,
Yeah.
let it like really eat on that shit.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Or that's
Okay.
why I said you fray out some nylon rope on the back of your treble.
So what is the nylon rope thing about?
Well, a lot
You
of-
don't. It
yeah.
does. The hook doesn't set, and the nylon rope. They have such fine teeth compared to like muskies, pike, walleye.
Yeah.
It tangles up in
Gets
their
tangles
mouth,
up in
Yeah.
there, yeah.
and
I've heard that.
you just bring them in.
Nice. Okay.
9
It's like
times out of 10,
Jer- I
even
think
with
that's a
that,
brilliant tip
I
for
bring them on the dock
novices and
or
shit like
the
that.
boat,
Sure.
and sometimes it's like, all right, cool. They didn't spin it yet, and they just roll off, and I can't even hold
Yeah.
it and take a picture. But back to the basics things, local spots.
Yeah, local
Another one,
spots. Yeah, go.
Donata,
Yeah, question.
Donata Lake.
Yeah.
Everybody know. Well, I guess not everybody
Not
knows.
everybody. I'm
Crawfish. They're normally red, brown, whatever. Donata Lake, off of Butterfield and
Oh, this
something.
is in
It's
Wheaton.
yeah, it's
Donata.
towards Wheaton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's across from Jimmy John's. You got to park over there and walk there.
Gracias.
They have one of the highest populations of blue crawfish, which are
Yeah.
technically 1 in a million.
Really?
One of the hottest fishing spot for fat bass if you know how to bounce off the bottom with a decent jig. You're
See,
gonna
that doesn't make
slam
any
them.
sense to me.
You are
You're
gonna
saying,
slam
I'm
them.
gonna bounce off the bottom with the
you,
fat ass
you-
jig or something like
yeah,
that. I don't know what
you
that
learn
means.
how to feel it.
Okay.
You gauge your
let it
depth,
bounce.
you feel it, and then
Yeah.
I like to just reel
Just
a little
work the
bit,
bait.
and sometimes I'll pick up, let
So
it
it
go,
makes
let
it
it
look
rise,
like
let it drop,
like a real
and then
crawfish.
sometimes
Yeah.
It
so
gets
you're
that
it's like
I'll just
crawling
look,
around
yeah.
the stones.
So you're
then I'll
just
just pop it.
Reel, treating that.
pull, reel,
Yes.
pull,
I'll
reel.
pop it parallel.
makes sense,
So
yeah.
it drags very shallow to it and just create a ruckus on the bottom.
Corey, show us what he's talking
And
about.
those
I know you
bass
got
There
one.
you go.
Slam it. No, I guarantee he does.
There it is.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
And you just
Thank you,
pop
Corey.
those things.
Yes. Okay.
And those bass go nuts. I mean, I've caught multiple 5-pounders over
I
there.
remember that we can't hear anything you're saying if you want to talk, Corey.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Another craw or swim jig.
Whoa!
Oh, he's going not into the fire.
We're good. We're good. He saved it.
Right. Yeah, that's
We're good.
Donata. I don't know the exact name of it. I think that's what it is, but people know where it
Donata
is.
Square is like in Wheaton, so I'm pretty sure you're talking Wheaton area.
Yeah.
But hey, I got a couple questions from some guys, and I want to get to them. Okay. We're running out of time here. We've having too much fun here, guys. You guys are good, too much talkers to even get to what
We
we're
all
trying
got
to get
different
to.
styles, apparently.
And I didn't even
so-
think I thought we could still fit it in. But anyways, when we come back, segment 4, Wes, thank you for coming out. Thank you so much.
Always,
for your
man. Thank
time,
you for
man.
having me,
Seriously,
dude.
You've been amazing.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
and don't mind me while I step on all my gear here.
Yeah, well, that was the best part of so far. But we're going to be talking to you soon. We'll see you right in just a minute.
Here, I'll hold your beer. So you can.
And we're back. Bonfire Banter, segment 4 here. Luckily, we got these guys to stick around for another segment. I don't know if we're on right now. Rob's looking at me as if we have no audio. It's on.
The host is
Let's see what
starting
we
to
got.
scare
We might
the
need to
heck out
restart
of
this whole
me.
segment, but we might not to as well. Mike's saying we're okay.
I don't
We're gonna
know.
Go with Mike.
Whoa, be careful. Be careful. JP might
Sam,
perform a
We're gonna start
vasectomy on
there. There's no guard on there. Oh, I'm going to hand you this. It does not sign anything. So the thing I want to start by is saying we got some viewer questions.
That's nice
And Rob,
wood.
we might need a Sharpie. Is there a Sharpie sitting around? I thought I had it on me, but apparently I don't. I thought I did.
I'll do a beer, too.
I thought I did.
Oh,
here's our
So
thing.
we need a beer.
we need
a beer over here.
Here we go. Okay, so let's ask some questions, though. Let's just get into
We
questions.
need
right
a
now.
beer here.
And we'll wait for the Sharpie to show
Here.
up.
Tell
We'll
us.
figure out where the Sharpie's at.
All right, I'll sign it eventually.
Let's start with this.
Did anybody not sign it?
No,
I
you're the only one
signed
that's not signed
okay.
it yet.
All
So
right.
we're
We
good.
need a
But
beer
Sam,
over here.
I actually
need a beer
We
here.
need a beer over here. We need a beer over here.
I'm good.
No, you
Oh,
gotta
no,
toss it. You gotta
that's
back up.
cheating.
You gotta back up. You gotta toss.
I can't do it.
No, he doesn't even want that beer.
I'll take
He
it.
doesn't even want that beer.
I'll take
He
it.
wants the bottle. Give me this. He wants this bottle.
I'll
Give
take
this man a
whatever.
bottle.
It doesn't matter.
No, he wants his beer.
It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna
which
pour
one.
that into mine.
A beer's
but
a beer. Well,
What we're gonna ask.
Okay, a beer's not a
And
beer.
we
but
know in that cooler. Here we go. Okay, we got a bottle coming in.
Why do I have the taste of microphone
I'm
in my
not throwing
mouth?
it.
Oh, it's because you were. I think it was because I told you something that was.
There you go.
Hey!
Oh!
We kept the completion percentage up. All right.
right.
So
Thank you.
we want to ask a
We have
question
some
here,
questions.
and I want to ask this one first to Sam because he is more of. You guys are on professional tours. Sam knows a lot about fishing, but he's not necessarily going out on these tours like you guys
You're
are.
giving
So I
me
want to
a
ask
lot
him.
more credit than I deserve. Trust me.
You guys seem pretty legit.
You know,
but,
from what you said, you sound like a true professional fisherman.
And he knows a
and
lot,
I'm
too.
impressed. I mean, I've been fishing my whole life, and
You'd like to touch my breast?
Well, he's taken it
rhymes
to
with
a level higher up. I would just consider myself. I've gone out and fished
Yeah.
at a professional level, but you've done a lot more sponsorships, writing, doing a lot of things that way, which I really respect all of that
it's
to take
kind of
it
a
to that
different
level.
level.
where can we read your stuff at?
And I'm hoping to do
Uh,
that.
I've
Again,
you know-
plug
you know-
yourself, please. Plug it.
Well, it's been a little bit, but I've published in Great Lakes Angler
Gramex.com,
magazine.
GRAMEX.
Yes. We've been enriching and enhancing homes since 1987. Go on.
If your house is
Great
broke
Lakes Angler
and you're not-
magazine, Illinois Outdoor News, Midwest Outdoors. I blog for the Chicago Tribune on ChicagoNow.com.
Yeah, do you really?
Yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome.
I've got my own website, legend-outdoors.com.
Check out legend.outdoors.com. Is that what you said?
Legend-outdoors.com.
Legend-outdoors.com. Check that out.
You know, I write for a little bit of everything. Basically a freelance writer. So,
All right, sweet. Well,
You know-
Sam, we want to ask you a question here.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready for a question here? So my brother Joe says,
How many questions?
well, he says, what advice do you give to
No
a
bad
super
question.
novice fisherman as myself? Where do I start and what fish, or what do I start to fish for sustenance? So Sam, talking to a novice guy here, it's my brother. You know Joe. You know Joe Peacock.
Yeah, JP.
Yeah, he's also JP. Yeah, all of us are JP. So, you know Joe.
Yeah.
What would you tell him as a novice fisherman if he's trying to fish for sustenance? If he's in like zombie apocalypse mode and he's trying to fish for like the best fish to like feed his family, What are you telling them to fish for, and how?
Oh, I would recommend just get in the car, load it up with gas, beer, water.
Yes.
Go straight to Putnam Bay.
Yeah.
Go to the Fisherman's Wharf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hop on one of their head boats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bring some guns with you if you need them. And tell them just take me out by the Canada border
Okay.
and let's catch some walleye.
Okay. I like that. I can dig that.
Yeah.
And then let's go, Eric. What do you think about the same question? If you're a novice fisherman and you want to have a good time, and you want to I think that's a good recommendation, at least because I know from what Fisherman's Wharf will do is
Sure.
if you go out there, a guy like me, I want to just cast. I'm enough of a, doesn't take much, but I can cast.
Sure.
I don't know a whole lot else, but they'll tie it up for you. They'll go, hey, 10-second drop, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They'll provide
if
the
you're-
equipment
If you
too.
want to
Yeah,
go out and
exactly.
have the easiest time fishing, absolutely go out, get a guide, or
Plug
or
somebody
go
if
out.
you have to, by the way.
Go out with somebody, a charter of some sort. If you want to go out with your kids or something like that for a first time, simple bobber with a little split shot, a hook,
Are we talking
and,
those red and
some
white
worms.
bobbers,
Yeah,
the
I mean
circle
just the basics.
Yeah.
You can go out with your family and have a great time from any shoreline. Just cast that worm out there with the bobber, just a couple
worm
feet
with
down.
a bobber?
That's it.
No,
That's all you need.
What are you going to catch with that, though?
Joe-
Worm with
Joe-
a bobber?
Joe-
You're gonna catch bluegills.
honestly,
You're gonna catch bass. You're
yeah.
gonna catch.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
I
things.
hate to admit this, but Joe had me thinking about
Who's
this.
Joe? My brother.
Your brother, Joe.
Okay, perfect.
And I've been thinking a lot about this, and he threw a little curveball in there when he talked about novice and then sustenance. There's a huge.
There's two different things.
There's
Probably get you all juiced up in so many different
No,
ways.
no, no.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's great. It's a great question.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I kind of broke it down in the two things in my head, and I brought toys, and
I love the show and tell.
You know,
I love
the show
that you
and
brought
tell.
that. Yeah, please.
novice fisherman is more likely going to use a spinning rod.
Okay, spinning rod.
And when it comes down to sustenance, now, for those of you who don't know, and sustenance is fish.
Food.
To
I wanna
eat.
eat.
I
I
want
wanna
to eat. And around here, we mentioned Lake Erie, great.
And that's
Awesome.
It's a little bit of a
fishing.
drive from here.
Is-
Nigger,
but
it's a little bit drive
if
from here.
if you're needing to eat and you want to go out, you can take the easiest casting reel. Obviously I fish bait casters, I fish spinning reels. Obviously I'm gonna mess up somebody's fly rod, but a bait caster is a little bit more difficult. You can use something similar to this, a Zebco 33, which is a push button, but for a novice. Spinning rod. This is a medium heavy. You
Medium
go
heavy is
out
what? Is
medium
that
heavy action. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little bit stiffer of an
Stiffer
action.
in the middle and a little bit.
You go
looser
out
on the
to
Okay.
any river, some ponds, and put a worm on the bottom, or maybe some
Let me check it out.
a piece of hot dog, and you
Piece
catch
of hot dog. I've heard cream corn even.
catfish.
corn.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
And
catfish.
catfish.
That's how we started when we were
If
younger.
you're talking
Yeah.
sustenance, is a very good eating fish.
Yeah, I've had some catfish. I
If
like some
it's
catfish.
cooked right.
Those are fighters, all right. Those little
they're-
catfish.
they're
are
good-
fighters.
they're good fighters.
Yeah, they roll a lot. They
You
do
can-
a
how do you
lot of
clean
rolling.
right?
There's
catfish,
different.
right?
There's
It's not
different ways
typical
to
like
clean
you
them.
just fillet them.
You can fillet them, or a lot of people will just skin them. If you just skin the catfish, and then you take your knife and go down the backbone, and you just kind of
And fillet it like a regular.
well, no, not like a regular. Just kind of peel that flesh right off the bone, with that skin off. Because a lot of people, what you can do is you can take that catfish, and as medieval as it sounds, you take it and you nail its head to a board, and you cut it around the head, and you take a pair of pliers,
Yep.
and you can
skin
peel
it
that
down.
skin right off, and then
Like a
from
squirrel.
like a squirrel.
Yeah.
And from there you can take that knife and you can just follow the bones and just peel that flesh away. And I thought about, and I hate to give Joe the
Roll
credit.
that around.
It's like a squirrel, right?
It's
Yeah, I know.
It's Joe.
I've skinned so many squirrels, man.
Hey,
Exactly.
You guys used to eat them every day, right?
know all
don't
about
knock,
it, bro.
don't knock
I do a
squirrel
lot
until
of
you try
chipmunks,
it.
too. What is that?
Don't knock squirrel until you try it.
Hey, I watch a lot of Alone on History Channel, and those guys are catching jackrabbits and squirrels like nobody's business. So
I was
you want to eat, I'm cool
I
with
was
it.
called by a producer one
Shut
time
the fuck up.
to do.
Is that Naked and Afraid?
No,
Yeah.
it was called Tethered, which was naked and afraid, but you were tied together with another partner.
It's a three-legged race of fishing
and I was
reality shows.
and I said, because they found me by my website, Legend Outdoors, and they found me because I competed in the Total Outdoorsman's Challenge. And I was like, I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, you want me to do what? Okay, you got the wrong number. Can I call you back? And then I found out like a couple months later that it was a real. And I'm like, damn it! I could have been this fat naked guy foraging for food. And I'm like, nobody's gonna watch that show. But I think I would have had a lot of fun. I'm like,
if they got you on there, fat naked.
My kids will watch it. They watch that Naked and Afraid.
Oh, I watch it too.
Come on, Mike. You guys really
the only
watching
problem
this?
is if
What
they
about Bill Dance Outdoors?
Alone
Why you gotta
is
watch
on
Naked
History
and Afraid?
Channel, and these guys go out and they go 12 people.
Yeah.
And they go, as long as you can stay, and they go, the last person that is standing, they give you whatever amount of money.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that show is that you don't know when everybody else is dropping out.
Yeah.
You're sitting there going, I hope everyone else is dropping out. I'm going to go as long as I can. But they don't tell you, there's only 2 people left. They just go, live
crazy.
as long as you can.
Can I just do a shout out
Yes.
to Hank Parker?
Hank Parker.
Oh yeah, Hank Parker.
Hank Parker, right?
What an
These
awesome
guys
show.
should
I mean,
know
is
Hank
there
Parker.
a
So who's
better
Hank Parker?
person than Hank Parker
Explain
in
to
the
me who
world?
Hank Parker is.
Jerry
Why doesn't
McGinnis.
Hank Parker run for president?
Who's
Huh?
Hank Parker? Tell me.
Hank
I'd vote for him.
Jerry McGinnis. So.
Tell me who Hank Parker is.
Yeah.
Hank Parker, you probably know more about him than I do. He's the greatest fisherman almost ever.
On this side of the Mississippi?
Well,
I don't know the show. You're
Larry
fucking
Nixon.
with me.
Larry
Who's the one
Nixon's
that says
another one that I
Nixon.
used to watch.
yeah.
And I actually met him
The lawn
twice.
needs
I
mowing.
met Larry
No, I
Nixon
know
Actually,
at Bass
where's
Pro
he at?
Shop in
Jeremiah
Gurney.
was a
Gone
bullfrog.
fishing.
I do
But he
have
was no friend of mine.
I do have to say a little something, and not to take this on a down note, but
It's probably going to go there, but yeah. Go.
it is going to go there. But I do have to say that to all the people watching, for those of you who don't know, Tommy Scarless, who was a master walleye and crappie angler, lost his battle to cancer. And
I don't know. You're going to go heartfelt here.
I just wanted to give a shout
That's
out
awesome.
to Tommy Scarless and everybody he
Scarlos?
touched.
Scarless?
To
Hey,
Scarless.
Tommy. Hey, let's pour it out for him. Tommy. Hey, Tommy.
To Tommy.
Hey, for Tommy.
To Tommy.
Tommy.
Oh, I'll pour it on your face.
Absolutely. I don't know you're going heartfelt with us. Thank you.
He was and still is a master angler. This man survived a broken neck after falling from a tree stand, and then
He's hunting? Doing some bow hunting?
bow hunt, and then a couple years
happens a
later
lot. People
was
fall.
diagnosed with a brain tumor, and he is like the angler's angler, and will ever be. And I didn't want to go down a deep road.
Yeah,
but
don't get us so sad over it.
Was it this
Corey.
year? Did we
course.
lose?
Just recently.
That's
Was
awesome,
it
though.
was
I
it
love
this
to
year
hear you
also
shout it
that
out.
we lost Forrest?
There's a
L.
lot
Wood?
of people suffering
we lost Forrest
from
Wood.
cancer, man.
Yeah.
Forrest Wood this year too.
Sad.
Wow.
Forrest L. Wood.
And the reason
Yeah.
I brought that up is you mentioned
Parker
between
was one of those
segments
guys.
about your favorite fishing stories
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And
We gotta
And
get
then-
to
Do
some
you want
questions.
do you want some
Oh my
shoes?
gosh,
Yeah,
fishing
no,
stories.
I don't mind.
okay.
No, I don't mind.
Never.
You
But
can
never.
wear
Another
my
question.
shoes.
I want
I
to
don't mind. I have
wanna
socks
thank
on.
No, it's
Joe
okay, it's
for
okay,
that
it's okay.
Okay.
No, I
that
feel- I feel
stimulating
more-
I don't mind.
question, which
It's
messed
actually
us
pretty
all
nice
up.
right here.
All right.
So
What do you got?
anyway, so
So
I
what's
want to
the
get
next-
these other questions. Let's get to those questions.
And
'Cause
no,
we were trying to
a
do this for
duck
3
does
segments.
not drag weeds if it swims with.
Whose question
an
was that?
erection.
That was
I think smoking weed's
no.
legal now.
It was
isn't
Richie.
Or
It was our
it's
fire guy. It was our fire guy. He said, he goes, if a duck is swimming with a boner, does it
he
drag
weeds?
seaweed? I mean,
No.
That seems like
He does.
Yeah.
He does not.
Sam didn't even think of it as a joke. He thought of it literally. He goes, "Well, yeah, well then
Might.
I don't think I've ever seen a duck's boner.
A Drake
So I don't
Mallard
know.
has like a red rocket, just like a
no."
dog.
Like a dog.
I
it's
have
more like
seen.
It's
I
almost
ha-
like a wire, but
Yeah, I have seen.
yeah.
Is that
like
where the
two
term
drakes.
lame duck came from?
Rape
Lame
and a
duck?
hen.
Maybe
So
It might be.
lame duck?
It might be. I have no idea.
I've never seen a
You
duck
might have
hard
to
on,
know
so I
this
don't
one.
know.
All right, I found the pen.
Did you
So,
sign this yet?
I'm gonna
Okay.
do my signing.
Get on there,
here.
please sign this thing. Okay, I got another question for you guys. All right. So we're gonna say my brother, or no. There was another guy, Sean Henning. All right, I got a question from Sean Henning. Thank you, Sean, for the question. He says, "Hey guys, what is an ideal rod and reel setup for shore fishing in the area? Small lakes, rivers, ponds." So I'm gonna start with Eric here. Eric, if you're small, what do you say? Small shores.
Small shores.
He says, yeah. He
A
says,
little pond setup,
shore
maybe?
fishing in the area, small lakes. So, what's like your setup, novice?
Just a regular setup for me is anywhere from I would say a 6'6" rod.
What does that mean? The 6'6"?
6'6".
Okay, 6'6".
6'6".
Okay, so you're talking like MJ.
Yeah.
6'6".
6'6".
North Carolina. Michael
I
Jordan.
would say if you're just novice and you're walking shoreline, a medium light rod, which is medium in the center section, very light or fast.
Okay, so it's
on
gonna
the tip.
bend more?
Yeah, just it bends a little bit more,
All
gives a little bit more,
Well,
sensitivity.
while he's talking, I'll do a demo of medium light rod.
But yeah,
And-
go on.
and like an 8-pound test line,
Okay.
and I'm a worm guy.
8 pound,
slip
and
bobber.
earlier you guys were talking about lines. So,
Yeah.
if you're talking about like he's gonna walk out, he wants to catch a bass.
Sure.
You're talking about a 6x6 or a 6'6".
6'6".
What
Medium
kind of
fast.
braid though? A braid line
No,
or a
no.
fiber carbon? Or what you
No,
guys talking about?
I would
You wanna
just
test
use
the
a
drag?
regular monofilament 8-pound
Monofilament?
test line,
Okay.
and I would do a Texas rig.
A Texas rig. Which, hey
Worm.
guys, actually, Corey, I'm gonna jump to you.
Yeah.
Explain to me a
He's
Texas
got
rig.
the Texas rig right there.
Show me a Texas rig.
So it's just a
Okay,
a
so
weight.
what does that mean though? What is it doing?
So you have the weight at the top,
Okay, wait at the top.
right at the top of the worm,
Okay.
and then the hook is right underneath it.
Okay.
And typically you'll go through the worm, and then you'll stick the tip of the worm of the hook just inside the worm, so it makes it
So
weedless.
just the tip.
So you can pull that through weeds and not get hung up. Just the tip.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You
All right.
can
And
rig
that-
it like a
that
wacky
is-
rig too. It's another
That
little
is
setup.
the number one bait used by novices, pros. That bait right there is the number one bait, I believe.
That's what everybody
for,
goes
for
to.
catching fish.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
There goes the iris. All right, we're done.
Can I
This
demonstrate?
episode
Can I
done.
demonstrate a wacky
No, we're
rig?
good. We're good.
Here,
Yeah.
just
It
so
only
we
I
got.
think
It
that's
only
the-
got me right in the nip.
That is
Right,
the
a wacky rig
easiest
tied up.
fish catching setup right there.
That is for what
Yeah,
kind of
very
fish
nice.
though?
Bass.
Bass.
Yeah.
So
You'll
sure,
catch
if you
bass.
want to go bass, you go on that rig. Everything
Yep.
you just explained, that's your bass rig.
4 to 6
Novice.
inch worm.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Quarter
You want to
ounce
show us a
weight.
wacky rig?
Wacky
Sure,
rig. So
sure.
what does that mean? What does a
So,
wacky rig mean?
Well, wacky rig is a weightless rig.
a weightless
now,
rig. Okay.
Now this is weightless here. He does have a little bit of weight on the hook,
okay.
but typically a wacky is where you hook it through the center of the bait. And
So it's gonna allow the bottom part of the thing to move around a little bit more.
correct. So you would take this off of here, and wacky is more in the center of the bait. So it floats down, and you would use a different hook. But-
Okay. Yeah.
But wacky is more. That's
Yeah, they
that's
make
what
like a
wacky rig
weedless
looks
hook.
like.
You could
They
just
do,
center
yeah.
hook it.
okay.
Yeah.
And they
But if it's
and,
not a 3-man, it's just called a 1-man.
and it's an easier it's an easy rig
I don't know
to
what
throw.
that means. I don't know if it's a joke or not.
well, the 3-man.
It's an easy rig to throw,
Okay,
and you can
If
you
you're
can
by
catch
yourself,
fish on
it's a
that
1-man.
on just about any body of water. You really
Okay.
can. Yeah. There you go.
So what is this? What is this best used for? What fish type?
Again, bass.
Bass.
You might occasionally catch a crappie or something like that on
Okay.
it. But
Yeah.
pretty much bass.
So
you're
when
gonna
you
get.
guys are talking about these drop
Mostly
shots,
bass.
you guys talking
You
about
never
drop,
know what you'll catch.
you guys been talking about drop shots a lot. What is like the What's the fish that we're catching with the drop shot?
Well, you can catch several different species with the drop shot, but
What's hanging out right on top of all that
for
garbage?
me, it was smallmouth fishing. That's what
smallmouth
I
bass.
used the drop shot for.
So what about you?
But a lot of guys use it for a lot of different largemouth.
It's pretty much the same thing?
Yeah, the drop shot rig is amazing, especially in real clear water.
For a smallmouth, or what are you
For
catching with it?
primarily smallmouth. Largemouth will hit a bluegill, rock bass,
there's
perch.
a wacky rig right there.
You could catch a
weedless.
perch on a drop shot. The weight's on the bottom, and they make a little special hook made specifically designed to stand up on the line, and it stands out perfectly. If you use from my experience, use a really light fluorocarbon. The reason you use a fluorocarbon is it's a lot stronger line, more abrasive resistant, so you can get into zebra mussels and stuff in the Great Lakes with them, and you bounce them on a tungsten weight, as opposed to
Tungsten's a type of metal.
Yeah, but tungsten's a lot harder metal than lead, so it has a lot more feel to it. It transfers the feeling of the rock up to your rod better.
Like the subtlety of this shit blows my mind.
No, it just helps you feel the bottom better, essentially. The bite's going to come from the hook, but that weight, you're feeling the bottom, and it just clips on, so if you get it stuck in the rocks, you just pull it out, have another weight in your pocket.
Well,
what's your favorite hand? I'm gonna go. This is a question we've been talking about. What's your epic fish story? I want to get all of you guys' stories real quick. What's your
Oh my
you
God.
remember a story that was the one? What is it for you? And if you don't have the answer, I'll go to one of these guys first. But what do you think? You got 9 minutes. You got one?
I have one.
All right, Cory, go first.
Okay.
Sam, think about yours.
My epic fish story is really simple. 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, and
hey,
I was
awesome for beating it, bro.
I'm a cancer survivor.
Strong man. Hell yeah.
As I drink beer.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely, Cory.
But I couldn't barely walk. I had very little energy, and I fished Lake Michigan a lot. And one of my buddies, Captain Ralph Steiger, I called him up. I finished treatments in November. I had blood clots and everything, and I called him up. I said, "Hey, you got somebody has got an opening? I'd just like to jump in the boat." And it was December. It was snowing. And we got a chance to go out and do some jigging to some Lakers, and
What lake?
Lake Michigan, out of Hammond and out of Chicago, both. And it was it's something that sticks in my mind because it was the first time I was able to actually get out and feel like a normal human being. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean,
you gotta be
I didn't even
like
care if I caught a
awesome.
fish. I caught some nice Lakers, but that
Makes
that
you
was
appreciate
Was
the
that
little
one of
things.
those
It makes you
moments
appreciate
though
the
in your
little
life? Like,
things,
could
yeah.
you even mark that moment as maybe one of your favorite fishing trips?
Yeah.
Just because, again, it didn't matter about the fish you caught.
no.
It didn't matter about what happened there.
It was
the
I was
moment.
out doing something
Yeah,
that I
hell yeah.
loved, and knowing
And I know
that
our family members.
I could do something that I
Sure.
loved, because even as sick as I was, I was able to do it.
Makes you feel normal again. man.
It made me feel normal
Yeah,
again.
hell yeah.
I was able to, my buddy Ralph Steiger took me out. I fished with a couple other buddies, Jeff Baffa, and we put the hammer down on some lake trout, and
I want to
felt
say one
normal.
thing real quick. Cancer research is super important. If anybody wants to donate to cancer research, please. I have a grandmother that passed away. We have a family member that had some breast cancer, and she actually beat it. She's an amazing story about cancer,
Yep.
and you
Brenda.
have
And a little
we all have,
and a
people have gone
PSA.
through cancer, and please
Yeah.
donate to cancer research.
And a
It's an
PSA,
amazing thing. Please do that.
get your kids
Absolutely.
vaccinated
Oh,
for
sure.
HPV,
Yep.
because that's what caused
Absolutely.
my cancer.
What's HPV?
HPV is human papillomavirus virus, but
You see
at
the
the end of the day,
commercials.
we could all.
We
I
could
don't
go
wanna
on
get into
forever.
Vaccines or anything
Can I
like
tell
that.
my
We
fish
need
story?
another
Can I
fishing.
tell
We
my
need a
No, I'll
fishing
let you
story.
take
Okay,
it. Go.
So I have so many that I'm
I
just
want
gonna
the
pick
top.
one.
Let's go.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, Cancun, Barracudas, Muskie. Real quick,
I know you got one, though.
In Bangs Lake, Wakanda, Illinois. Let's shout
They
it
were
out to
talking Bangs
Wakanda
Lake,
Boat
go.
at Bangs Lake. Greatest place. Been going there since I was born. Phil's
yeah.
Beach, the water slides, and you
They
know.
were talking about that
Yeah,
earlier. He was
water
talking
slides.
about the water
Yeah,
slides.
I don't
yeah.
think they had a drinking age back then or anything. It was back when good people were good people. So the good old days.
Mike Salisbury.
So going to the cove, I'm throwing a buzzbait. Chip, 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 chip. Boom! Huge largemouth hits it. Fighting him. I reach down. This was with one of my buddies. I want to say it was Rob Nishkern or John DeCarlo. I don't remember. I think it was Nishkern. grabbed it out of the water. Giant, huge bass. I thought it was a 10-pounder at the time. And it's got a full-size bullhead this big in his mouth.
Wow.
I ripped the bullhead out, weighed at 6.5 pounds. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
where's that bullhead? I thought it was going to be 7. Anyway,
That's
it's
awesome.
just a quick one. There's a million
That's
of them.
cool,
That
though.
was the
I like
top
that.
water
Yeah.
fishing, huge fish in the cove, right
awesome.
pre-spawn, just
I
right when it was
think-
warm enough to throw
I think every fisherman has a million of them,
Oh my
and
gosh,
I know
there's
you've
so
got
many
All right,
one.
Eric,
stories.
go,
There's so
go.
many stories.
Corey's
All
giving
right.
it to you.
So 2005, it was my only second tournament fishing as a pro. I'm on Lake Erie.
So this is like you're trying to prove yourself.
I
You're
drove.
early on in this
I drove
shit.
out to Pelee Island, 32 miles from Detroit River, by bass boat.
how many
And-
feet?
We were out in 27 feet of water.
How many foot was your bass boat?
Oh,
Going
21,
30 miles
21
out?
foot.
A
Yeah,
21?
21 foot.
It's a big bass boat.
Yeah, it's a nice bass boat.
It's not your
And,
average bass boat.
so-
21 feet
What's an
about
average
as
bass
big.
boat? What's an
Average
average-
bass boat,
I
16
catch
to
a
18.
bass. I catch a smallmouth,
Tangent.
and I get it in the boat. A nice 4.5 pound smallmouth.
Okay.
Nice. Put it
Feel
in the
good about
box.
it?
I turn around. My rod's gone. My rod's nowhere to be found on the deck of the boat.
Yeah.
Right. So I lose the rod over the boat. I go on. I fish the rest of the day. I end up leading the first day.
Yeah.
Second day, I go back out to the same spot.
Okay.
I'm out there fishing. I feel like I have a fish on. I'm reeling up. Here comes the rod tip up
Yeah.
out of the water, spiraling. I caught my fishing rod in 27 feet of water, 32 miles out, the second day of the tournament. And
What
here
are
I'm
the
thinking I
odds?
got a fish on.
Yeah.
I mean, I hooked with a tube jig through the eye of the rod and brought that rod up. So I cleaned it off. I rigged it back up. I caught all the rest of my bass on that rod that day. Led the second day, and I told you the story about
Yeah.
screwing up on the third day, but I ended up in ninth place. But I
What'd you
caught,
win- what'd you win on
caught
the ninth
that
place?
You
rod.
caught your rod the
I
next.
caught that rod the second day,
Caught his
and
own rod.
that story is actually on FLW.
No
You
shit.
site.
still
If
have the rod?
go
And-
to-
and
I
that-
do.
and
I
that-
do.
I do.
And I only,
What if
and I
there's a
only
fish on the
use,
end of it?
I only use one.
That'd be even better.
I
You pull
only
your old
use
rod,
tube
on
jigs.
that rod, there's a fish stuck up.
What are the chances?
Well,
though?
and that's a testament
that
to
rod,
GPS.
I only use tube jigs on. That's the
Fishing
only
in the
bait
same
that goes
spot.
on
Yeah.
that rod because of that
See,
day.
to me, it's
Well-
like okay, that's kind of funny. To you guys that are fishermen, you're sitting there going like, the fucking odds of something like that, like catching.
So,
your own-
listen,
I've done it.
I cast
Similar.
my.
7
I
feet of
cast
water.
out
I
one
mean,
time.
It was
Yeah.
just,
I was-
I
That's
couldn't
insane.
believe it. Yeah.
It's insane.
So the guy that was fishing next to me ends up being a really good friend of mine all these years.
Yeah.
But he was fishing next to me. I didn't know him. And he goes, God damn it. That son of a bitch got a horseshoe up his ass. He just caught his own rod in 27 feet of water. I'm out of here. He leaves. So I met him like next year, the following tournament or something. And we've been lifelong friends now since
That's
that was 2005.
It's amazing what
Yeah.
you get out of fishing.
But
not
that's
only
that's probably
fishing.
the best
I think that's
the
a good
fishing
one.
friendship.
story that I
He
had.
made me think of another one that was.
And
It's
have
pretty
we gone
funny.
Corey yet? Have we gone? Have
Yeah.
we gotten you anyone yet?
Yeah, I did the depressing one.
You good? I did the depressor. What do we got? What do we got?
I'm going to stop this. We're going to restart. We're going to do the questions.
Hold on. Can I just say one last
All
thing?
right. Do we got? Are we still going?
Or no?
We good?
No, it's. I mean, I don't know.
Let's go. All right, let's go. So where are you gonna go?
I was just going to give a couple of my fishing
Yes, let's go.
sayings.
Please,
You asked
go.
me.
Yes.
Okay, fish bite early, fish bite late, fish bite best from 4
To
till
8.
8.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
I
masturbate.
never heard that one.
Is
that all you think about?
I am married, so
All right, give me the rest of them though. Give me the rest
All
of them.
right. When the wind blows from the east, the fish
bite
bite
the least.
the
least.
Least. Okay.
When the
Which I've had some really good
wind
days on
blows
each
from
one.
the west, the fish.
Bite,
Bite
the best. Right?
Yep. When the wind blows from the north, the fisherman seldom goes forth.
I love it.
When the
All right.
wind blows from the south, it blows the hook
into
Into the mouth.
to the fish's mouth.
I love that.
And then there's the red sky,
Yeah, red sky
Red
at
sky
night.
at night.
Sailor's delight,
Delight.
Red sky,
red
in the
sky
morning.
in the morning,
Sailor, take warning.
sailor
warning.
takes warning. I believe.
Been in some storms too.
So, I mean,
There's
is
some
that
truth to
legit?
all
I
these
mean,
things.
like,
There's
is it
some
like
truth to all.
if you got red sky in the morning, are we like legit? Like
You-
we're
you-
up for like a storm?
You should be
usually
getting
it
a storm.
shows the front that's coming in. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I
Usually
said.
fish bite in the morning or in the evening, so that 4 to
Yeah.
8 it's right on the money.
And
there, too.
no bananas in the boat.
And, yeah.
And no
keep
goddamn
your
bananas
out of the boat.
Yeah. Keep the bananas out of the boat.
Did we have any other questions, sir?
Yeah, we have a ton of questions. I mean, let's see what we got. So we got a bunch of funny ones. Let's even ask. Let's see.
Fish do not have testicles.
Yeah. No.
That was one. Do
and
fish
they
have balls?
No.
All right, let's go to a serious one though. They said slip. Buddy Dave Dubose of
Well, it
ours,
depends on the
who's
fish.
a serious guy.
Some of those smallmouth have some balls.
He goes slip bobber versus snap on. Now that
Slip
doesn't mean
bobber.
a goddamn thing to me.
All I
Well,
can say
it means
I-
a lot about
I-
the way you're
I-
fishing. I
All
can
right.
tell you that.
Okay,
Well-
let's go to Corey
I
here
don't fish
first.
bobbers
Corey,
much, but I
try
know
to
there
keep
was
it
one
short.
tied on.
Corey,
Yeah.
try to keep it short. Let these guys go.
Okay, deep water, panfish, any other fish except for steelhead, slip bobber. Now, when I'm fishing steelhead, I fish a fixed float because I'm fishing very light line, short, short, shallow depth. But slip bobber, because the slip bobber you can use from 1 foot
It
to
allows
50
you,
foot.
Yeah, it allows you a
And
lot of
it's a
versatility
lot
in your
easier to
cookout.
cast.
How do you use a flip bobber in 50 feet of water? Where do you put the stop?
You put
just
the
reel it into
you
your
put
line?
you reel the stop all the way up into your reel.
Yeah, it's all
50
in there. You
feet.
just cast it out.
So
Okay.
I'm
I love this
now
because
now personally
he's an avid fisherman.
I'm not.
I don't know shit.
I'm
but
not
he's asking good questions here.
I have a hard time with
I
slip
don't-
bobbers sometimes. 'cause
I'm
I
kind of
don't
a
know where to put
purist.
the
It's a
stop.
float to me. It's not a bobber. That's just the way I am. But
I had a buddy named
slip-
Neil, and his best friend's name was
Bob. Okay. Or is that just what you do?
Well,
Did we
Depends
just
on
really
how you
go
hold your
there?
microphone.
Man,
people hold it like this.
Dave, I don't know. Dave likes to play with a lot of guns, so I'm just going to be careful with how I answer.
Neil.
No, I'm a
His name
huge.
was Bob.
I'm a huge slip bobber fan or slip
That's the
float
fisherman.
fan, because I can fish any depth. I can instantly change that
Neil's a
depth,
football player.
and with a fixed float, if it's your spring type or your red and white bobber, it actually will kink the line. So a slip float, you do not actually damage the line at all.
Okay.
So I can adjust my depth. There's been many times I've been crappie fishing, and the fish are suspended at 12 feet, over 20 feet of water, and then all of a sudden it'll change and they're at 10 feet. I could drop it 2 feet down, and I don't have any damage.
So is that
and I
is
can
that
cast.
knowledge based off of feel, or is that like a
beer
fish
over there.
scanner? Like, how do you
It's
tell
off
he's
of
got-
it's usually off of
Yeah, you can
sonar.
All right.
It's
Sonar,
off of
right?
sonar.
All right.
Absolutely.
'Cause that's the only thing
Usually
that
I
always blows my mind about fishing is like you have these sonars on your boats, and it's like, oh, you got these fish
Are you the
here.
only
Well,
one who
listen,
can
listen.
clap his hands and get a
especially
beer?
with
Is
salmon.
that work for
yeah,
everybody?
I
Hey,
have-
so
have-
Sandy needs a beer.
I have.
go.
Especially
I probably
salmon
got about
fishing.
$5,000-$6,000
Don't be too
worth of electronics on
lackadaisical
my
over there. I
boat.
don't want you to overdo it.
Yeah,
and
when
hurt
you're
yourself.
when you're salmon fishing out on Lake Michigan,
They're gonna
you're
throw
you're
hit
looking
me in
for
the
the
head.
thermocline
Yeah.
where those fish are at.
Yeah,
the
you're
fish
look-
are at a certain depth. So
How do you identify the thermocline on the fish finder?
You
Well,
can,
Well,
Sammy,
you will
I'm
actually
You'll see
if
the
you
fish.
if you
You'll
if
see
you
the fish
dial
line.
it
Yeah.
in if you dial
All
it
right.
in, you'll be able to see it. But I also run a fish hawk when I'm fishing Lake Michigan, so I can
pour,
drop
let
my
pour, let pour.
downrigger down and I can
There we
see
go.
the temperature.
Say it
So
again, Corey.
I'm looking for
Say it again.
I'll be running for Lake Michigan. I run a fish hawk temperature probe on my downrigger, so I
Fish
can,
hawk temperature probe.
which actually
Yeah,
goes out on the
just-
downrigger, and I'm actually seeing the temperature
where
at
the bait
the
is.
depth where the
So
bait
that
is.
will tell you, okay, my fish
eh.
like 48 degrees.
Well, I
I'm
know
loving this right
the
now.
fish want 50-degree water temperature
Oh,
during
see,
the
I was
summer.
throwing out crazy,
And
temperatures, 48.
so I'll be like
cool.
70.
predict
I'll
what
be
fish will do at
72 on the
certain temperatures,
surface,
So if you, could I
and
target
I'll watch that
you're gonna
temperature
catch-
drop as I'm dropping my downrigger, and then I'll be able to see the temperature change, and then I can also see it if I
see the
dial
fish.
in my
You can see
temperature
the fish
and my
on a
graph
certain
just
depth.
right. I can see the thermocline if there is a thermocline set up, because you'll see it as a
It's like
solid
clear and then it's
line.
Yeah.
and then I'll see it.
And that's where the fish
and I'm
are. You'll
also
see 'em
running
lined up.
Humminbird
cool,
side imaging, so I can actually watch out to the sides and watch my
So,
planer board.
Here's
the
a
one
question
thing.
for you guys right now. That's not cheating? You guys are talking about,
No, but if you
electronics-
pull out a
I
minnow,
know! You guys are talking
disqualified.
about cheating. You're talking about cheating, like,
The
oh, no,
electronics-
that's cheating.
It's
like
not
a live bait,
cheating.
but like, I got this sonar that tells
Yeah,
you like
all it
where
is
the
is
fish
it's
fucking
giving you
hang
the
out.
I mean,
giving you the
it
pieces of
literally-
the puzzle.
All
It's giving you.
right.
It's like a
All
mystery.
right,
You
all
get the
right.
clues, but you
The-
don't. You can't just get the
So the
answer. You know what I
electronics-
mean?
I got that.
Since I stopped tournament fishing in 2009, the electronics have gone
Yep.
way beyond anything that I had.
That makes sense.
It's now
I mean,
almost
every
like taking
technology-
it's like taking literally video
Yep.
of the bottom.
It's a sonar.
You're going.
The
Hey,
computer-
I mean, I saw
the
It's a lot
computer
more
reprograms
user-friendly.
what
There,
it's- what
you can
it's-
actually do an
and
ultrasound.
It's a video.
Technology stuff.
I mean, it really is a video.
Now
of
they
the
have
bottom.
shallow water anchors. Instead of taking an anchor on a rope and throwing it out to anchor your rope, you press a button and your boat goes bzzz and just locks to the
Well,
bottom.
I
and
have
then
it.
it comes back up.
I have it even better. I run a Minn Kota with iPilot, so I just hit a button and it electronically holds me in one
It'll
spot.
keep you on one.
Without
it'll
anything
keep
Yeah,
you
So
you
how
on
don't
does
even
that
have
work?
to be
It's
good
an
with the
anchor that
foot pedal
moves,
anymore.
or how
No,
the fuck
it's
does that
it's
work?
the trolling motor
The
that
trolling
actually
motor.
has
Just
keep like
GPS.
pushing you slightly.
The
It'll
G-
turn off for a second, and it
It'll-
feels you going one way, and
Yeah.
go. Bzzz.
Yeah,
Or it'll
Yeah,
keep you
it'll
in a
keep you
certain
right on your
depth.
spot.
That's badass.
It'll
They
keep
call
you
it,
in a
what do they
certain
call it? It's
depth.
like an anchor
iPilot.
mode,
They
right?
can
It's
keep you a
electric. It's
certain
a
distance off
electric
the
anchor
shoreline.
or
yeah.
something?
So if you're
There's-
looking for like
That's awesome.
36-inch depth, and you're like 12 feet off the shore or something like that, it'd be like
It'll
I'm gonna
just
keep
be in a
you at
certain
36.
You
depth.
catch a fish, you hit a button, and it just keeps you right there while you're monkeying around.
Or
You get a
you can-
tangle.
you can
So
walk
here's
away,
the
you
question,
can-
here's
you
the
can
question,
just
here's the
hold in
question.
spot. It'll hold you in one spot.
That's badass. Here's the question.
I think you
Tell
got
us.
off
Let's
the
make-
question.
Let's
Their
make this
viewer
one a quick
questions.
one. I want to make this one a quick one. Don't go into super detail. Start with Sam. What boat do you own? What do you own?
Oh,
what's it
that's a long
go?
story.
No,
It
I
goes
want
way
quick.
back.
I want quick. I want
I
quick.
got a 20-foot Ranger.
20-foot Ranger. Corey, what do you got?
I have an 18-foot Sylvan Deep V. I have a 12-foot
Yeah, several
John boat,
boats?
and then I got a 18-foot pontoon
Oh
boat.
shit, he owns several boats. Okay, Eric, what do you got?
And now I have a 17.5-foot tracker, just a 60-horse aluminum deep V.
Ideal
How many
fishing
All right,
boat.
so I got no.
How many boats have you owned, though?
I
This
got
guy's
a,
got.
Well,
I
He's
bought
had a
my
lot of
daughter.
boats.
No, I bought my daughter this Barbie boat. It's like
one?
it's badass. You get the Barbies in it. It's like this big, and like I put it in the
She
bathtub.
play with
and
it in the
shit.
bathtub?
I put it in the bathtub. It's like
The host has gone off
it's
the
badass.
rails.
It's badass.
The host has gone
I
off the
started
rails.
with a
Yeah, I would say
12
you have had a lot of boats.
I started
just
with
from
a
talking.
12-foot boat with
I'm sure
with
you
a
have,
6-horse.
too.
Okay.
And then I worked up to a 16-foot with a 15. Then I had a 16-foot with a 50-horse four-stroke.
Okay.
And then I went to a Triton with a 200-horse. And then I went to my 21-foot Ranger with my 250 Yamaha.
So I've
That
heard
was the-
Mercuries are
and
like the jam. Am
No,
I wrong? Am I
Yamahas.
wrong?
Yeah.
If you
They-
like to buy American, Mercury Racing,
Mercury.
I'll put my Mercury up against any other
Okay,
motor.
so
you
Nobody
like
does a
the
rooster
Well,
tail.
I'd have-
Mercury.
I'd
I'm a
have-
professional
Confidence in
rooster
Mercury.
I never
tailor, not
had
only bass
any.
fishing.
I never had any problem with my Yamaha
Yeah,
motor.
I would have to
had
go
s-
Yamaha
I-
all the
but
way.
You
just had
feel
such
like
a-
less American.
Does a
because you
Yamaha
go
make a
that route.
rooster tail?
It
doesn't.
But does a rooster
Now,
tail make
would
you
I?
go
Of
faster?
course.
It does
Okay,
not.
Now I would.
Hey,
does it
whoa,
look
we're getting a
better?
question. Hey, we're getting
Did
a
the
question over
kids
here.
not like the rooster
Oh,
tail?
sorry.
That's
whoa,
right.
Whoa.
Whoa, that was a
No.
major party
So what
foul.
what we're talking about was he's saying that what he's got going on. Is this American? What I'm asking, you're saying the type of boat you have is a Ranger.
No.
Is that something that weighs?
Yeah,
in
it's
your guys'
American
mind?
made.
The Ranger is made
I
down
usually
in
not big on America, but lately I have been just because all this crazy
Well-
shit that's
Yeah, yeah,
happening.
I got you,
But
I got you.
other than that,
The way
Yeah,
I
Ranger's
mean,
made in
Yamaha,
flipping
who cares?
Arkansas.
I-
A good motor's
really,
a good motor.
flipping
All
Arkansas.
right, a good motor's a good motor.
I
At the
run-
end of
I
the day,
run a
yeah,
J-
yeah.
I
The
run a-
Merc is to me the best motor.
yeah, I run a Johnson just because
guys would
it's
agree the
it's
Yamaha's
an older boat.
Okay.
But my kicker's a Yamaha, but my pontoon is Yamaha.
Kicker's a Yamaha means like your secondary.
My secondary,
smaller
my
motor?
trolling motor is
Okay.
a Yamaha. Now, if you go up to Alaska, if you go up to Canada,
You can't have just that
mo-
secondary.
no,
bullshit.
most of those motors are Yamahas or
Yeah.
Hondas.
Or
because they
Hondas.
go forever.
Now,
right?
now, if I
Honda's
was now,
very
now
popular.
on a secondary note, in a completely
Yamaha.
complete tangent subject, if I'm going to buy a lawnmower, I'm going to buy a Honda engine. And the same thing
There's
with a
nothing wrong
Yamaha.
with being
Now, in the late 90s, the Mercuries, they used to call them, instead of Optimax, they're Optipops. They used to blow the power hits.
Sure. They did.
Now I have an older Johnson that's got a VRO.
The oil's all the same.
And
you
the
can,
VRO
Merc oil, you
is,
can put in Joe's oil. It's all
it's,
two-cycle. No, it's not. You got to use Mercury
it's an iffy
Optimax
subject with the
high-performance
VRO.
synthetic oil.
If
or
I
you will
could
pop
change it out and repower, I'd go to a Yamaha or a Honda.
Yeah.
A four-stroke. Now,
I
don't have anything. I'm not pro this or pro that. I just know, like, I hop into my pontoon boat that hasn't been run in 3 weeks. I turn the key, boom. That Yamaha kicks over.
It starts going.
My four-stroke, Yamaha, my kicker, once I get fuel to
They're
it.
so quiet,
it's,
too.
It's so
just
quiet.
purr.
I literally dunked the 250 underwater several times. Never stopped running.
No, I will never
Full
own.
engine underwater.
I will
Full
never.
engine, totally underwater.
When Ranger came out
That's
with,
pretty good,
not
isn't it?
Ranger, but Tracker came out with the Tundras, the all welded frames.
Sure.
I have seen many of those. In fact, I was on scene of one of those that sunk because they were bow stuffers, and they also would develop cracks. And I mean, I'm not talking smack about a boat, but
I've
I
seen
just
Rangers flip, but not sink.
I've never seen a Ranger.
I've seen them. I've seen them bow stuff, and I've seen
a bow stuff is something you don't want to experience.
What
is that? What is
just
that?
so you know.
Explain that.
Explain
Explain
your
that.
boat into a submarine. Is basically
it's
what
basically
it's no fun at a high speed.
Sam, explain this. Explain this. What is a bow stop?
I've done it 3 times.
It's when the nose of your boat goes through the wave. So you're riding on the waves, and then you stuff a wave. In other words, you go through like a torpedo on a jet ski. But this is at 40 miles an hour or 50
literally
or 70.
what you feel is the weight of the water going.
Whoa, yeah.
It will knock.
And then you're sitting in water this deep across your waist.
It will knock your hat off, knock your glasses off.
Yeah.
If you have gloves on,
Crash
if there's
everything
not a
that you
windshield
did.
in front of you, chances are it'll knock you out of the boat.
Really?
Knock
Rods
your
on the
rods
deck,
off your deck.
the
I mean,
rods are
boom.
off the deck,
I've-
the electronics
Don't ask
are
me how I
ripped
know
off.
that.
Yeah,
But I do for
I've
sure.
done that 3 times. Yeah.
That seems intense.
Now we did come upon 2 guys that looked like they were standing on the water.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
as we got closer to them, we could tell that their boat was just
I-
underneath
What is
the
that called?
surface.
Swamp?
And the pumps
Yeah,
were
swamped.
running.
I've actually been.
you go.
I pulled up
Show you.
on Lake Erie to a Tundra that ran into Gulf Shoals.
Zero buoyancy, right?
They ran into right into Gulf Shoals, right under the reef, and they sunk the boat because they messed up one motor, and they ran right up under the reef and messed up their kicker and just took on water. And I looked over and I'm like,
Are you an idiot?
I'm looking over there and going, is there a guy doing this in the water? And I was confused.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there was a guy. And we went over there to pick up the guys. Somebody else picked them up before we got there because we were going to go help them. And the guy was like, hey, could you get my tackle bag? And we're like,
From what?
go fuck yourself. We're not going to ruin our prop on the shoal.
Yeah, tell them to swim
For-
over there and get it.
Yeah, for your
Swim it back
you know
up.
for your tackle bag because you guys weren't paying attention to your GPS and know that you were going up on top of a shoal. I'm like, no.
We towed a boat in that lost its motor one time out in practice.
Yeah,
Guy literally lost his motor off the
Whole
back.
motor.
I've
It's
seen
hanging
that.
I mean,
It's
you're
hanging
talking
just
how much
underneath the
money is in a
surface.
motor? How much money?
About 18 grand.
Yeah,
18 Gs. You drop that in the bottom of the ocean or
No,
the lake.
For your
I've seen 'em
basic
hanging
bass
off.
boat
Yeah, they're
motor
hanging
or
off the
fishing
back
boat
hanging
motor.
off the back by the
God damn.
cables.
So we tied up to the guy, and we're in 6.5 footers.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a joke, and we were all in kind of a serious situation. But we towed the guy about 3 miles into Colchester on the North Shore. This is John DeVries and I, and I can't remember
I know
the name of the guy.
John.
But anyway, we towed the guy in, and as we got close to the shore, he realized there's no way we're going to be able to get in with
He's-
this motor.
yeah, he's
hanging
gonna be
behind the boat.
dragging.
So he cut. He
He had to
literally
cut his.
everything loose
Yeah.
and let
Couldn't
that
get a
boat,
ratchet
let
strap
that
or
motor sink to the bottom, and we were able to pull him
He
in.
probably checked his insurance
I mean,
policy.
he was
like,
when
oh,
we were
shit.
going through
I don't think we can pull
Oh.
it in
We
with
were
this
going
motor
through the
hanging
rocks
there.
over
We just gotta cut it loose.
He was like a surface lure behind us.
Oh,
Excellent.
yeah,
Well, I got one more thing real
go
quick.
quick.
One
Go
more-
quick.
One more
Go.
thing. We just talked about boats.
Give me
And the biggest thing on boats is to have good insurance on your boats. And
There
when
you
you have
go.
insurance on your boats,
State Farm.
no.
No.
Go
oh,
to
no,
a
no,
marine,
no, no, no.
somebody who specializes in marine insurance. Personally, I mean, shout out to Bob Llewellyn with Worldwide Marine, but go to somebody who specializes in insurance.
All right,
You're not going to
Progressive.
buy home insurance for
Progressive.
somebody
Hey,
else.
Do we have anyone to shout out on the insurance game? John Nolden, does he do any of that? Nolden?
GRAMEX.
Gramex.com. We've been enriching and enhancing homes since 1987. By the way, if you guys have any needs in exterior remodeling, we
How
are
do
your
you say
guys.
that word? X what?
Exterior remodeling.
Our host
but
has gone off the
at
wheels.
the end of the day, we are so happy to have you guys out. Thank you so much. We got over there Cory
Yarmuth.
Sanfillipo.
Sounds like a fishing lure.
And we
Yes.
got Eric
The
Struif.
Yarmuth.
Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. You guys are amazing.
Thanks
you
for
guys.
having me.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Keep watching, keep subscribing, and always keep stoking those fires. We will see you next week. Bonfire Banter signing out.